in Hendersonville, Tennessee, but their home is badly damaged. One of many from there to Arkansas to Missouri to Illinois, where at least 14 people were killed. The death and destruction even greater in Kentucky. Fox's Caroline Shively's in Mayfield.
The governor says it could be over a week before we know that final death count because more than 100 Kentuckians are still missing at this hour. Here's the governor.
We are now up to 74 Kentuckians that we have lost.
And Governor Andy Beshear says the youngest of those victims was just 2 months old. Another loss in court for President Biden over a Trump border policy he can't get rid of. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has the update live.
Dave, the ruling for the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday leaves in place the Trump administration policy of forcing migrants to wait in Mexico while their asylum cases in the U.S. are resolved. President Biden did away with the policy, also often called Remain in Mexico, office this year, but it was reinstated by a federal judge after Texas and Missouri sued. In the ruling, the court said the Department of Homeland Security does not have the power to implement a policy reversal without input from Congress or judicial review. Dave.
Tony, the House may vote today to hold former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows in Congress. He tells Fox
it's disappointing but not surprising.
Meadows had initially cooperated with the committee investigating the January Capitol riot. Then negotiations broke down and he refused to testify last week.
He changed his mind and told us to pound sand. He didn't even show up.
So Democratic Chairman Benny Thompson and the rest of the committee voted unanimously to move a contempt charge forward. COVID cases have now topped 50 million in the U.S. in this pandemic, and as the Omicron variant spreads, California is the latest state to impose a mask mandate indoors starting tomorrow. America's listening to Fox News.
When news breaks, millions are turning to Newsmax. Get the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the truth from Washington. Each weekday, Chris Salcedo probes vaccine mandates and looks at the potential dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, and more. Millions are also watching the free Newsmax app on their phones. So download it today and start watching Newsmax for news you can really trust.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. Right now, it is 6:03:45 in Columbia. We are expecting a nice day today. We'll have a complete forecast from meteorologist Kevin Schneider coming up here in a few moments. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Missouri's Attorney General is praising the news the Columbia School Board has voted to end CPS's indoor mask requirement. Our news partner, ABC 17, reporting last night's board vote was 4-3. CPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood recommending the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. A number of parents and students addressing the board at the meeting, several speaking against the mask requirement. Attorney General Schmidt tweeting praise for the vote last night, saying, quote, "This is why we fight," end of quote. Attorney General Schmidt has said mask requirements are null and void under a November decision from the Cole County Circuit Judge. Dan Green, my colleague Branden Rathert here on Wake Up Columbia, will have much more on this story throughout the morning right here on the program. Meantime, 3 CPS middle schools will be getting buzz-in systems and a secure vestibule. Columbia School Board has awarded a $369,000 bid to Columbia's Grove Construction for the projects at Gentry, Lang, and Smithton Middle Schools. Funding will come from a voter-approved bond issue. Project will also include replacement of the existing entry flooring with a new slip-resistant vinyl composite tile. Grove submitted the lowest of the 3 bids. President Biden will be traveling to tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky tomorrow. About 20 residents in that area died in Friday evening's massive tornado. Others are still unaccounted for. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has 48 crew members in Mayfield. They are performing search and wellness checks and have been throughout yesterday as well. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blomenkamp says they have 100,000 pieces of equipment.
This being a collapsed area where we have down buildings and debris, we anticipate doing large area or wide area search and rescue type missions. We could be going into collapsed structures, doing shoring, breaching, breaking.
Blumenkamp tells Wake Up Columbia the Task Force 1 crews also have canines on the scene, and they also have seismic listening devices. The governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, says there are now at least 67 confirmed tornado fatalities, and that, again, is statewide. Boonville economic development officials are encouraging anyone interested in working at Kawasaki's Boonville plant to attend a meet and greet tonight in Columbia. That event will be held from 6 to 8 at the Holiday Inn Executive Center. I talked to Boonville economic development officials yesterday. They tell me potential applicants are encouraged to bring their resume tonight. Kawasaki announced in October they're building the plant near I-70. They will create more than 270 jobs. Those jobs will pay well above the average for Cooper County, according to the State Department of Economic Development. They can't give specifics, but the average wage in Cooper County is about $35,000. We're told it'll be well above that. Kawasaki is also offering 10-hour, 4-day work weeks. Boonville, Missouri. An accused murderer from Columbia still jailed without bond this morning after he fled to Iowa after the killing. Mark Achterberg, charged with first-degree murder for the November killing of Justin Stidham, shot to death on North Kent Drive. Achterberg will appear in court today, Boone County, 1:30. And the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri says the need to address hunger never goes away. Tomorrow's your opportunity to donate food or money to help hungry residents across the 32-county service area. Food Bank President Lindsay Young-Lopez says the Commerce Bank one-for-one food drive is happening at a key time.
We have seen people who needed help from the food bank, from partner agencies for the very first time in their lives.
The one-for-one food drive is sponsored in part by Zimmer Radio Group. 93.9 The Eagle will have live reports from Columbia Mall tomorrow, 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The food bank serves 7,500 children weekly through the Buddy Pack program. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Tuesday morning by AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning. For all of your heating needs, log on to airserve.com. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 6:07. Turning our attention now to sports. Well, we talked, Branden and I, at the end of the baseball season about Mike Schilt. He had been up for at least one job, interviewed by the San Diego Padres, did not get that job. Mike Schilt, though, has been hired by Major League Baseball's commissioner office. St. Louis Post-Dispatch is reporting that while Mr. Schilt is unable to comment at this time, he says he's excited about the opportunity. His record as manager with the Cardinals, 252 and 199 postseason appearances at each of his 3 full seasons. And in high school and college football, there's a wide receiver down the road at Boonville. If you don't know the name, you're going to know him pretty soon. His name is DJ Wesolak. And what a player he has been. My colleague Andrew Kaufman, the sports director at KMIZ, is reporting that DJ has narrowed his list now to 5 schools. They are, in no particular order here, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, USC, and Mizzou. So 5 schools on the list. Andrew reporting that DJ will announce that decision tomorrow, 3:30, Knights of Columbus in Boonville. Pretty impressive list there. Sports brought to you by Wendy Sprouse, the Medicare nerd. Our news time, 6:08. And our weather is brought to you, Kevin, thank you, by Club Car Wash. ClubCarWash.com, 46 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
It is 6:08, traffic check, MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Roads right now pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us, 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
I request that the board vote to remove our current indoor masking requirements in all district buildings, pre-kindergarten through 12, and revise our quarantine protocols. My request for the need of the extension of the coronavirus plan is based on guidance from DESE, DHSS, CDC, and other public health agencies and authorities, including medical experts, as well as the current COVID numbers for our local community. My request for revisions to the current mitigation measures, including the removal of our indoor masking requirement to all district buildings pre-K through 12th grade, and revision to our quarantine protocols to make close contact exclusions recommendation, is based on the increased availability of vaccinations for scholars aged 5 years and older.
All right, CPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood, before the school board last night in Columbia voted 4-3 to end these mandates. I don't know if it was the fear of what Eric Schmidt, that fire he lit under their rear ends. I don't know if it was the threat or the fear. I shouldn't say threat because it is happening. The investigation into the school district, which is separate of these lawsuits. I don't know if it's enough parents, but I got to tell you, man, kudos to these parents. They went out and they pushed and they pushed. They went and did things like they got sunshine requests. They pestered the Attorney General's office. They caught the attention of the Attorney General's office. Eric took a look around. Big Eric, as Mark McCloskey likes to call him, and said, whoa, what's happening in the Columbia Public School District? And it's something we've been harping on for a long time. We told these parents, you have kids there, let us know what's happening. We posted these sunshine request forms. They started bombarding the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office started looking at what's happening in the Columbia Public School District, besides the letters that Big Eric sent to these health departments across the state of Missouri and school districts. Sent one to Columbia, so yeah, we've seen the letter, we're waiting on it. And then he said, oh yeah, and by the way, we're opening up an investigation into some of it. And I don't know if it's because of that meeting from October the 10th in which they just shut the meeting, Dr. Helen Wade just shut the meeting down. Nobody knew what was going on. I don't know if that's going to be part of the investigation. But last night, school district voting 4-3, but there are some nuts and bolts here.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 4-3 vote, and we knew, Branden and Stephanie, it was going to be an action item, so we knew because they have to vote every month, and they have been, and they've been extending it 1 month at a time. This started in August. It's the indoor mask requirement. Obviously, and I think it's very important to note, they still have to wear masks on buses. That is a federal requirement, so we want to point that out as well. Now, Mr. Yearwood, you played the soundbite. I thought that was very key. Based on what he's saying the decision is based on the federal approval of the COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. The Attorney General still says it's a victory, made some comments about Marxism, et cetera, and Stephanie knows what he said on that. But again, regardless, the bottom line is January the 4th, when the students come back, the indoor mask requirement will be ending.
Because I know some students, they've been going to school and they're getting kicked out. We've got some disturbing video that a parent sent us. Mm-hmm. The kid is being yanked from class, and that's not disturbing. It's the way because he's filming the whole thing. And the way they talk to this kid, my God, everything that I had feared and heard from parents validated in this video that this parent sent me. These teachers, I cannot believe they're talking to a school student like this, the way these teachers are belittling kids. Does that make you feel grown and all big when as a teacher you belittle a student in your charge? And it's all the audio is right there. There is no disputing it. Now, we've spoke with several people in management here about the station about what to do with that, and we're still working on it. It is disturbing. It validates everything that I've heard. It's actually proof how poor and I'm not saying everybody. There are some real gems of teachers within the Columbia Public School District and all across Missouri. What's happening, I'm telling you, in the Columbia Public School District, I've been telling you this, and now the Attorney General's office is investigating, and now the school district is saying, okay, yeah, maybe we should do away with the mandate. Now we have this audio of a meeting that was filmed after this kid is yanked from class. The way the teachers talk to this kid, my goodness. And I get it. Listen, I'm one. Sometimes you got to be pretty flat out with kids, even at school. My dad would always say, you say whatever you want to my kids, but don't you dare spank them. That's my kid. You don't spank my kid. You don't do that kind of stuff. What's in this video is, wow. It's almost a sense of vindication. What did Big Eric say on Twitter?
Well, after talking about this, about CPS, he said, "I'm proud to be fighting for parents and kids. Individuals should make these decisions, not government. This is why we fight. Hashtag no mask mandate." And then he followed it up an hour later with "Fight tyranny, crush Marxism, love America, flag emoji."
Some of the parents that spoke yesterday, this guy is James. He's a nurse, and he talked about what we've been known for almost 2 years now. Man, you're making decisions based on fear, and you're running around, and you're afraid. And incidentally, you can go and watch the meeting. I don't know if it's posted actually on the school board website. I do all kinds of weird Google searches to even find it. Before the thing, they're honoring some students who've made some great achievement at school. And the students all walk through and they shake hands with the school board. Come on, man. What the hell's wrong with you guys? And by the way, a nurse brings this up and talks about their fear.
I'm a current practicing nurse. I've been a nurse for 14 years. I'm not going to speak to you about the legality of what you're doing. That's for the courts to do. They've already ruled on that. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. What I'm going to talk about is fear in science. These policies don't involve color, race, education level, any of that. What they involve is fear. You all are fearful, and you continue to push the goalpost back every single time.
True statements. They're afraid, and they push the goal post. And it's not just Columbia Public School District. It's the feds, by the way. Hey, get the vaccine, and you don't have to wear a mask anymore. Guess what's happening in California tomorrow? Everybody's got a mask up, no matter where you are. So they've been lying to us, or they just don't know, or they're dragging us by this leash because they've got people scared.
You get a chance to. So I just ask you all to don't come from a place of fear. Like I said, I understand, and I believe you all have good hearts, that you don't want anyone to die. You don't want anyone to get sick. I don't want my kids to get sick. I don't want anyone here who wants to wear a mask, kids to get sick. If they want to be vaccinated and get every booster, I'm fine with that. If they want to wear 2 masks and goggles and put their kids in a full-body parka or a hazmat suit, I'm fine with that.
And there's more here when I keep playing this. But that's the thing, and it speaks to the intelligence or the lack thereof of people that we want the mandate, we want the mandate. They do not understand. It doesn't mean we're not, or it doesn't mean people aren't going to wear masks. That's not what that means. And they fail. I don't know why they fail to grasp that. It doesn't mean people aren't going to wear masks. It means, oh, we're restoring American values. We have a choice. It doesn't mean everybody's just going to go and take off their mask and sing Alice Cooper, School's Out Forever. That's not happening, man. We're just saying, be American. We live in America. Give us choices.
But as Bonnie said, your handshaking shows that you don't understand science.
So this school board, picture this, man, or go watch the meeting. Is it? I don't know if it's on the CPS website yet. I don't think I got it from there. It takes a while usually.
Yeah, Cam Mizey, obviously, our news partner, has.
Okay.
But I went back and looked at my notes because if you remember, this issue came up at the November meeting, and what Michelle Baumstark told me a month ago on these meetings is they're broadcast live, posted the next day.
Yeah.
Posted the next day.
Because Michelle Baumstark and I've had some conversations about when it's posted onto the Columbia Public School District website, and it's not, and maybe it's my bad for expecting it to be posted for the next morning for general consumption. It's not. City of Columbia does a really good job of doing that. But anyhow, if you go and watch this meeting, these students get up and they go and they shake hands with everybody on the board, and then the board pretends to come out. We got to be safe. We got to wear masks and do. Jesus, you just shook hands and watch how many of them touch their mask while they're trying to talk. These are juvenile. The school board, a lot of their actions are just juvenile and just, in my opinion, idiotic. I'm astounded that these people are voted into these positions.
You don't understand what's going on, and that you truly are coming from a place of fear as opposed to anything else. Thank you.
You don't understand what's going on, and you are truly coming from a place of fear. Amen, brother.
Yeah, I mean, is there any other place where people are really wearing masks right now besides Columbia Public Schools? I mean, my kids haven't worn masks in a long time, and, you know, their moms and dads, the kids are watching. They're smart folks. Mm-hmm. You know, when we go to the grocery store and when I'm around Columbia, when I'm around Jeff City, I'm not seeing anyone wear a mask. So, again, why are we just forcing small children who are the least vulnerable in a school where how many other schools are immediately around Columbia? I don't think any of them have a mask mandate except for Columbia.
None of the school districts have the mask mandate except CPS. Now, Lee Summit and some out in the major cities too. Jeff City and Ashland were the last two that I'm aware of that did get rid of their mask mandate.
Well, and so on the weekend, my kids are at the movies with kids from CPS. No one's wearing a mask. They're at Level Up. They're at a restaurant. And so wearing a mask for 8 hours a day in the school is not protecting these kids unless they're literally sitting at home for the other, however many hours a day and on the weekends, which, maybe some parent would sign a thing that said, I never take my kid outside the home, and if I do, they wear a mask 24/7, but I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah. But it's this guy's. You just based it on fear, and I think the reason they just go after kids, and I believe this, and it's not just the Columbia Public School Board. It's not just the district who's being investigated by the Attorney General's office. We have a school district. That's embarrassing. Being investigated by our Attorney General. This is sad. But it's the fear, and I think they're just doing it to kids now because it's about all they can control. Little kids. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell's back.
Good morning.
Brian Hauswirth is here. There is Hannah, the producer.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. Stephanie Bell has your daily DC rundown. 6:25-ish. What do you have what's underneath the circus tent today, Steph?
When are we going to be able to stop talking about January 6th?
Oh, man. Probably until Trump is reelected in 2024. That's coming up. Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell here on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com, where you can listen live. You can also watch the show.
Hi, this is Henry, and I'm Brandon's dad. My favorite show on 93.9 The Eagle is The Gary Nolan Show.
This is not about me holding me in contempt. It's not even about making the Capitol safer. We see that by some of the selective leaks that are going on right now. This is about Donald Trump and about actually going after him once again.
Mark Meadows on Sean Hannity last night. By the way, Sean Hannity's here 2 o'clock this afternoon. I'm sure he's going to be talking about his conversation more with Mark Meadows. So Mark Meadows, obviously, in the final days of the Trump presidency, a key player in the administration. He's making headlines this morning.
And Mark Meadows has stopped cooperating. He failed to show up for a deposition last week, and now the House panel, not surprisingly, voted to recommend contempt charges against him. The House panel is reviewing texts that he received from a whole host of different people. Members of Congress, Trump Jr., Fox News, and I guess Liz Cheney was actually reading some of the texts yesterday. They're quoted everywhere. And so they're saying basically, hey, you knew something was going on. We needed something more to happen. But his whole issue is just being contempt over not cooperating.
Liz Cheney yesterday.
Mark, the president needs to tell people in the Capitol to go home. This is hurting all of us. He is destroying his legacy, Laura Ingraham wrote.
Laura Ingraham, Fox News. So, okay, still didn't say anything criminal on the part of the president, right?
I mean, anything they can do to beat up on Trump, they're going to. And at that point, once people were already kind of storming the Capitol, I don't know if there's a whole lot that Trump could have done at that point. I mean, it was all happening so fast. But the committee is bound and determined to keep Trump in the headlines through the midterms. So they will keep on that charge. Yesterday, we found out the Air Force has discharged 27 people for not getting the vax. So, and I guess there's legislation pending that would make that discharge either an honorable discharge or a general discharge. But right now, we're not really sure. They did indicate that everyone who was discharged was first-term enlistment, so younger, lower-ranking folks. But more than that have refused the shot. Over 1,000 airmen have refused the shot, and 4,700 are seeking a religious exemption. So a lot of people standing up.
Yesterday, I was talking to somebody in Walmart about this, and they came up and said, see, those 27 Air Force personnel, they let them go because they didn't follow the vax mandate. What do you think about that? And I said, well, they knew the consequences and took the consequences with it. That's what I think about that. Coming up, Fox News is here. California is going so far left now, like they've fallen into the Pacific Ocean this morning.
I thought they were supposed to do that a long time ago.
Yeah. Wait till you find out what they're doing now. Fox has this story coming up at 6:30. Then Brian Hauswirth is here. Columbia Public School Board meeting last night. This is great news following the announcement from Eric Schmidt saying, hey, I'm going to investigate you in this letter. You got to follow what's going on. He's going to have more details on that. And I do want to highlight some comments that another nurse made at this meeting last night. It's coming up at 6:35 here on 93.9 The Eagle. I have your ABC 17 storm track forecast. 64 today, 74 tomorrow.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. 74 people have now been found dead in Friday's tornadoes in Kentucky, 14 in other states, including Tennessee.
At the moment that it hit, I told my kids I love you, because I thought that was going to be it.
Justin Waller of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Thousands of homes still standing are without power or water. 27 members of the Air Force are kicked out for refusing a coronavirus vaccination.
The Air Force gave members until November 2nd to get vaccinated. More than 1,000 have refused to comply, and nearly 5,000 others are seeking a religious exemption. Each branch of the military sets its own vaccine deadlines and procedures for implementing the mandate. The Pentagon saying more than 96% of active duty personnel have received at least one dose.
Fox's Steve Rappaport. House voters expected this afternoon on referring former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows to the Justice Department for a criminal contempt charge. He has not fully cooperated with the committee investigating the January 6th riot at the Capitol. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 6:31, 46 right now in Columbia. It's 45 degrees in Jefferson City. Going to be another beautiful day. Sunshine. Today's high 64. Cloudy skies tonight with a low near 59 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. An accused murderer from Columbia will appear in a Boone County courtroom this afternoon after being captured by Iowa authorities in November. He is 36-year-old Mark Achterberg. He's charged with first-degree murder for the November shooting death of Justin Stidham, just north of Columbia. Achterberg is jailed without bond as we speak. Meantime, Columbia School Board voting 4-3 to end the district's indoor mask requirement effective January the 4th. Our news partner ABC 17 reporting CPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood suggesting the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Columbia School Board awarding a $369,000 bid to a Columbia company to provide security enhancements and upgrades at 3 middle schools. Those schools are Gentry, Lang, Smithton. Michelle Baumstark, the CPS spokesperson, tells 93.9 The Eagle the project will provide a buzz-in system and a secure vestibule for the 3 schools. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has 48 crew members in tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky this morning. They are performing search and wellness checks. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the last tornado the task force responded to was Jefferson City in 2019. And he also notes they were in Joplin in 2011.
You know, we have people on this deployment that were actually in Joplin, and it was described to them as very similar as far as destruction, only on a more grander scale. This tornado was massive in size.
All 48 members of the Boone County Fire Protection District's Task Force 1 are in Mayfield. Keep in mind, President Biden will be in Mayfield tomorrow, along with Senator Mitch McConnell, Senator Rand Paul. A number of the other dignitaries will be there as well. And applicants who are interested in working for the Kawasaki engine plant being built in neighboring Booneville are encouraged to attend tonight's meet and greet in Columbia. The event is from 6 to 8, Holiday Inn Executive Center. You'll be able to learn more about available positions. Kawasaki building that plant in Booneville, 270 new jobs. That plant expected open in 2022. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:34. In sports, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporting this morning that former Cardinal manager Mike Shildt has been hired by Major League Baseball Commissioner's office. Newspaper is reporting that while Mr. Shildt is unable, I should say, to comment at this time, he is excited about the opportunity, and he did confirm he is going to be with Major League Baseball. He confirmed that to Ben Fredrickson, who's a columnist for the Post-Dispatch. High school and college football. This is some big news here, folks. Booneville High School football star DJ Wesolak will be announcing his college football decision tomorrow, 3:30 at the Booneville Knights of Columbus Hall. He tells ABC 17's Andrew Kaufman he's narrowed his list to 5 schools. Andrew reporting those 5: LSU, Georgia, Alabama, USC, and Mizzou. Again, that announcement tomorrow, 3:30 at the Booneville Knights of Columbus. Our sports is brought to you by Witt Print Shop, where your printed products are so much more than ink and paper. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:35. Traffic check, midmohires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit midmohires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads right now in mid-Missouri, pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you do have a traffic issue we need to know about, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
After 18 years, I have decided to leave Fox. I want to try something new, to go beyond politics to all the things I'm interested in. I'm ready for a new adventure, and I hope you'll check it out.
Somebody from the Columbia Pachyderms put it best yesterday. He said to me, his name's Roger, and he says, Branden, he says, how often, and I know a lot of people don't like Chris Wallace. I thought he was fine. Just because he doesn't always toe the party line doesn't mean he is somebody to be disliked. He's fine. But somebody from the Columbia Pachyderm Club said, how often do you see a rat jump on to a sinking ship and that he's going to CNN Plus. And I'm like, yeah. And this occurred to me too. CNN, in the three big cable news outlets, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they are the least watched. Most of their barely even a million viewers. MSNBC, some of their shows at least get 1 million viewers. Some of the highest rated shows on Fox, they have more than 3 million people watching. And some of their lowest rated shows only have like 1 million people watching. CNN throws a big old party at a casino if they get a show with 1 million viewers. But I'm like, nobody's watching CNN on cable. Who's going to subscribe to CNN Plus? Who's going to pay for that? I don't understand that. I'm not a businessman. I don't work at CNN. That doesn't make any sense to me. People hardly watch CNN now. But now we want to charge. Don't make any sense. Welcome to the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell, we're glad to have you back, kiddo.
I'm glad to be back.
You missed a classic moment on the show yesterday.
Oh,
My
yeah?
goodness. Have you heard about this? I should have had the audio pulled up by now, but I don't.
I might have just been telling her about it.
Oh, dang it. Did you tell her the whole thing?
Well, I might have. I don't know specifically what you're talking about.
I don't either. Brian Hauswirth is here. How are you, bud?
Good morning, my friends. Good to see you, and welcome back to Stephanie. We all had a good time in Boonville at our annual Christmas party, and most importantly, we were all safe because, boy, we had some rough weather in the not too far from here.
Yeah, it's amazing that work area they have set up at that bridge at Rocheport already. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a ton of work, especially as you're coming back from Boonville off to the right.
MoDOT's not messing around. And the other thing that got me, because it's the first time I've been past the Sorrells Road Dover Pass, it's not there anymore.
Right.
I don't know why, but it's the weirdest thing. Like I'm driving by.
It's gone.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
This is hilarious because I noticed none of these things, and my husband always tells me I'm so unaware. I wasn't paying attention at all. I think I was putting on my makeup, probably.
Quick text 874-9390. Brian, hey, where's the event for the Kawasaki plant opening in Boonville?
That is in my story, and that is at 6 to 8 Holiday Inn Executive Center. I'll have a website story and a picture up here in a little bit. I'm working on several stories right now, getting them on the web. But 6 to 8 Holiday Inn Executive Center. And this is, I talked directly to Gigi for people listening. If you or anyone listening knows of anyone who's interested in working at the Kawasaki plant, they want you to show up, bring a paper resume, 6 to 8 tonight. And they are looking for workers, and they are also interested if people have families. They're offering, or they're single for that matter, they offering 4-day, 10-hour workdays. So they are very involved. They were in Marshall. They're in Columbia tonight. So people, and I know a lot of people want to know the pay. We know it's well above $35,000. They're hiring 270 positions. So show up tonight, 6 to 8, Holiday Inn Executive Center. I'll have a story up here by 7 o'clock on the web.
And that's to start that money, man. You get your foot in the door, and you work your way up, man.
And to the gentleman's question and what you just said, Brandon, my first radio job was in Carrollton in 1993. In Kawasaki, they still has a plant in Maryville, Northwest Missouri. There are people that were at that plant hired in 1989 was when it started that are still there today. So it is a big, obviously the plant in Maryville's bigger, but boy, that's a big company.
Here's a scary thought. So I never talk salary. I'm dumbfounded when people say, how much money do you make here? You just don't talk about stuff like that. Now, if you're a coach at Mizzou or you're a politician, I can ask you.
Sure.
If you don't want to tell me, I'll just look it up on the internet, public info. You remember how much you made a month in your first job in radio?
Oh, yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Highlights from last night's Columbia Public School Board meeting. A couple of other things we are working on for you this morning. OSHA is investigating just to the east of us that Amazon warehouse collapse. Well, it didn't collapse. A tornado hit it. Meanwhile, that's happening over the weekend, and this guy, Jeff Bezos, Amazon's that's his pet, right? He's worried about his space launch while this is going on. I thought it was kind of tacky, but anyhow, investigators are looking into that. They're saying, well, there should have been planning and zoning that would dictate it's got to be up to certain standards, but somebody's already saying, yeah, that Amazon warehouse on the other side of the Missouri River in Illinois, it wasn't designed to withstand the tornado. It's a big, giant box with a few beams throughout the factory.
Yeah, I mean, those types of buildings, aren't built to withstand. I'm thinking of I know the YMCA sustained some damage, like in Jefferson City, those big, just open air places. I don't understand that. I do know they're looking at, I think, like what was told to the workers and what their protocols were around safety for them, and whether or not they were supposed to stay or leave. But there's a lot of unanswered questions and just the devastation. Have they confirmed that it stayed on the ground for all 4 states?
So one of the stories I saw, I think it had it traveled like 201 toward one was like 276 miles through Kentucky. And as I was reading some accounts in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch yesterday, like potentially started like almost southeast Montgomery County and kind of hit St. Charles, where at least one person died, and then kind of hung, I believe, a little south of the St. Louis area before it went over into Illinois and eventually petered out.
It went through Kentucky.
There were several tornadoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But I mean, the devastation was crazy. And what was crazy to me was being at that party. I heard that it was in Missouri, but I wasn't paying it too much attention. But I did get a message from my sister in Nashville who said her sirens were going off, I think, at 3 a.m. So the amount of people and the number of people that it affected is really devastating.
And last night, people going off politely. Columbia Public School Board votes 4-3 when kids come back from winter break January the 4th. They're done with the mask mandate. There was a 4-3, so it was a close vote yesterday. Parents, a lot of students got up and spoke last night. If you go back and watch the meeting, I'll echo the sentiments of what some of the parents said, and we'll play some audio actually from a grandma who was a nurse, is that these school board members, they don't know what they are talking about. They're not doctors. You have an attorney who is the president of the school board. You have somebody who's on the school board that's running for mayor. So none of these people, as far as I know, are medical doctors. They're just going by what they read on the internet and the guidance and all that stuff. But there were a number of kids last night that got up and like, hey, man, come on. We are tired of the mask. If you go and watch the school board meeting before they award some students a very cool thing. Kudos to those students, and they shake their hands, and then, oh, we got to wear a mask. Well, unbelievable. This is Bonnie. She's a nurse.
First of all, I've not been able to hear a lot of what you've said tonight because it's muffled, and I even asked for the sound to be turned up. So I understand and know what some of our children have to suffer with in classes, especially if there's learning disabilities and things when they can't see your faces, and it's a struggle. But my major question is February the 14th, you're mandated by law to terminate this immediately, and I would like to know why you do not do this. And the letter went to you, Dr. Yearwood, very specifically. We all have copies of that. So does this mean my grandson, who has chosen not to wear the mask, cannot attend school until February the 14th? I need to know that question. He has been denied 3 different days to go to class because he has chosen. One of those is a welding class where there are sparks flying from the welder, that he's expected to wear a mask. The instructor finally did come out and say, well, we have some fire retardant masks, and for a class that day of about 15 students, you had 3, which tells me you're not really serious about protecting our children.
Yes, and yes. You are not serious about protecting our children. And here's my points I'll offer to back up that statement. Number one, the kids just minutes before that's happening, those kids go up and they win awards and they shake the hands of the people. Go to a basketball game. You have hundreds of people who don't care about it, and they're very highly uneducated about it. They just want the control. They're not practicing half the crap they want everybody else to practice. It's hypocritical. And it is really startling.
Well, it's a massive waste of time, I think, because, right now, again, they're the only ones with a mask mandate. They're picking fights with parents, picking fights with the attorney general. And here we are having these long meetings where we're just fighting about mask mandates that no one else in any surrounding county has, when what we really should be talking about is educating our kids. And,
oh, yeah.
Our test scores are in the toilet. We need to do a better job. We need to teach kids to read and write. And that's what we should be focused on. And instead, we're more worried about, who's going to win, and we're more worried about controlling other people.
And that's a great point, because I thought about that this morning. this has been a long time coming, and there are a lot of issues right now with the Columbia Public School District. It's not just the masks things. It's not the vaccine things. It's not the school bus issues, kids on buses. I think they've solved most of that issue. It's not all that. It's the biggest thing for me is the way that they treat parents. And yesterday we had one parent send us a video of an interaction between her son and 3 different school officials. Wow. It's sad, but I thought about how great we've been pushing for this for so long, we as a community, and it finally happened. Got Eric Schmidt involved. Finally happened. And I don't want to gloat. I don't want to get in the car and take a victory lap. It's not like that. I was always reminded, somebody told me a wise guy, I'd say he was a spiritual advisor kind of person. He was talking one time, and he said, Branden, and not that I love anybody in the Columbia Public School District, I guess as a general statement, I love teachers. But how do you tell somebody you love? How do you tell them I told you so? Like if somebody says, hey, telling you it's not going to be a good idea, and they go and do it. Turns out you're right, it's not a good idea. How do you tell somebody you love that I told you so?
Most of the time, you probably just shouldn't.
You don't. Coming up, man, talk about going woke. Colorado State Board says this term is a negative label. Well, it is. But they're saying, yeah, but it's negative. And everybody's going, yes, it is. What's the label that they don't want to be used in Colorado government anymore? We'll have that coming up 7:53 on 93.9. The Eagle. I was gonna go to
People are talking about Branden Rathert.
He's an outstanding man, and I'm sure that he'll do very well. I think he's just outstanding.
This is Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
Please get him on TV. Destroying everything you have accomplished, Brian Kilmeade texted. Quote, can he make a statement? Ask people to leave the Capitol, Sean Hannity urged.
Sean Hannity's here 2 o'clock today. I wonder if he's going to talk about Liz Cheney reading a series of texts between people at Fox News and people within the Trump administration on January 6th. Now, I've heard all of these, and there is still just nothing that says there was a criminal act involved. If you look at who's just really crying about this, it's these liberals and Democrats, and we know mostly they don't take They're not about responsibility. We know that. Blame something else. It's something else's fault. It's his fault. It's that's fault. It's climate change. It's racism. I have no responsibility, and that's what they are continuing to do here. Yeah, I see something illegal on the part of the people that have been charged and went and did that stuff, but the idea that Trump said, hey, everybody, let's get together on January the 6th and I'm just not seeing it. Fox News is going to be covering this throughout the morning. As a matter of fact, I'll have another update coming up at 7 o'clock on 93.9 The Eagle. I'm working with 3 different clocks here this morning. Blowing my mind, man. Also, California. Seriously, when we say, good thing we don't live in California.
Thank goodness.
They're going back, I think, tomorrow. No matter where, you could be in the most intimate of moments. You better be wearing a mask. Yeah. Colorado State Board. They're not calling the Sex Offender Management Board, sex offender, somebody who's been convicted of crimes. You have to register as a sex offender. They want to drop the phrase sex offender.
Because it's offensive?
Yes.
Now we're worried about offending people who have molested children? Is that what we're worried about?
I don't know.
So what's the term? How do you say sex offender without really saying sex offender?
Let's see. You don't. Because
you say
whatever.
Pervert?
Right. A pervert who's had to register to be on this list. Here's the thing. Because whatever you call it, again, we go back to the word treadmill, whatever you call it, it means the same thing. If you find a new flowery term, it's the same thing. They did unspeakable acts more often than not that got them on this sex offender registry. By the way, one of the other things coming up this morning, Columbia Public Schools last night voted 4-3, do away with the mask mandate. Want to look down and break out who voted how. We've reached out to Columbia Public School Board member David Seaman. He's not responded yet, and that's not a knock against him. I reached out to him. It was late last night, and so they kind of had a late meeting. And then we are getting ready. Tomorrow is our annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. And have you heard what the weather is going to be like? It's going to be like 74 tomorrow, man.
It's time for the Doughment of the Day with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
Your Doughment of the Day. Dumb people in the news doing dumb things. More and more folks, more and more Americans working from home, doing the Zoom thing, which I think is great. One of the things that people in the workplace industry are dealing with, and this has happened more than once, could happen here. Somebody's at work, they're on Zoom, say they get up to go get a cup of coffee, and they trip over something in the house. Workman's comp.
Really?
It's one of the big issues they're talking about, and people are standing around going,
There's a lot to still clean up. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I'm blessed to be alive. I mean, I'm fortunate.
But his home in Taylor County, Kentucky is one of many torn up by tornadoes Friday night. It's up to at least 74 people dead in the state.
So many people here in Kentucky that have been struggling with the loss of loved ones or missing persons right now. There's still folks that, we're trying to find.
Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. At least 14 other people were killed in Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, and Illinois, where an Amazon warehouse got a direct tornado hit. Fox's Evan Brown has more on that live.
Yeah, Dave, OSHA is now looking into whether or not there were proper safety measures and procedures at the Amazon facility in Edwardsville, Illinois, which is east of the Mississippi from St. Louis. 6 people were inside the plant, they were killed inside the plant, which Amazon called a delivery station. The facility did have a storm shelter, which most of the workers on site did use. Amazon says they will donate $1 million to recovery efforts in Edwardsville, Dave.
Evan, former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows could be held in contempt of Congress in a House vote after the committee investigating the January Capitol riot recommended it because Meadows refuses to testify. Republican Liz Cheney's on the Democrat-led committee.
We cannot be satisfied with incomplete answers or half-truths, and we cannot surrender to President Trump's efforts to hide what happened.
Meadows tells Fox,
this is about Donald Trump and about actually going after him once again.
The Air Force has kicked out 27 members for not getting a COVID vaccine shot.
None of them sought any type of exemption. All of the airmen were in their first term of enlistment, meaning they were younger and low on the chain of command. The Air Force gave members until November 2nd to get vaccinated. More than 1,000 have refused to comply, and nearly 5,000 others are seeking a religious exemption.
That's Fox's Steve Rappaport. America's listening to Fox News.
When news breaks, millions are turning to Newsmax. Get the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the truth from Washington. Each weekday, Chris Salcedo probes vaccine mandates and looks at the potential dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, and more. Millions are also watching the free Newsmax app on their phones. So download it today and start watching Newsmax for news you can really trust.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03. We're going to have a gorgeous sunrise here this morning at 7:19. It's 46 degrees here in Columbia, 45 degrees in Jefferson City. Expecting a high today of around 64 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on at this hour. Missouri's Attorney General is praising news this morning that Columbia School Board has voted to end the CPS indoor mask requirement. Our news partner, ABC 17, reporting last night's board vote 4-3. CPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood recommending the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Number of parents and students addressing the board at the meeting. Several spoke against the mask requirement. Attorney General Schmidt tweeting praise for the vote. He says, "This is why we fight." Schmidt also says that mask requirements are null and void under a November decision from Cole County Circuit Judge Dan Green. Again, to be clear here, the superintendent in this case, Dr. Yearwood, recommended the change due to the federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Branden will have more on this throughout the morning. Wake Up Columbia. Meantime, 3 CPS middle schools will be getting buzz-in systems and a secure vestibule. Columbia School Board last night awarding a $369,000 bid to Columbia's Grove Construction for the projects at the 3 middle schools, Gentry, Lang, and Smithton. Funding will come from voter-approved bond issue. The project will also include replacement of the existing entry flooring with the new slip-resistant vinyl composite tile. Grove submitting the lowest of the 3 bids. President Biden will be traveling to tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky tomorrow. Mayfield not far from Sikeston, not far from Charleston as well in southeast Missouri. About 20 residents in the Mayfield, Kentucky area died in Friday evening's massive tornado. Others are still unaccounted for. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has 48 crew members in Mayfield. They are performing search and wellness checks. Boone County Fire District Assistant Chief Gail Blomenkamp says they have 100,000 pounds of equipment.
This being a collapsed area where we have down buildings and debris, we anticipate doing large area or wide area search and rescue type missions. We could be going into collapsed structures, doing shoring, breaching, breaking.
Blomenkamp telling Wake Up Columbia Task Force 1 crews also have canines and seismic listening devices. The governor of Kentucky says there are now 67 confirmed tornado fatalities statewide. Booneville economic development officials are encouraging anyone interested in working at the Kawasaki Booneville plant that is under construction to attend a meet and greet tonight in Columbia. The event will start at 6, ends at 8, Holiday Inn Executive Center. If you're interested in working there, bring your resume tonight. Kawasaki in October announced it is building the Booneville plant. It is near I-70. They plan to create more than 270 jobs. State Department of Economic Development officials announced in October the average wage of the 270 jobs is well above the average for Cooper County. Average wage in Cooper County is about $35,000. We know it's well above that. Kawasaki is also offering 10-hour, 4-day work weeks. In Booneville, they will have team members on hand at tonight's meeting, and you'll be able to meet with them this evening. An accused murderer from Columbia remains jailed without bond this morning. He fled to Iowa after the killing. He is Mark Achterberg. He is charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action for the November killing of Justin Stidham. Achterberg later captured in November by authorities in Creston, Iowa. He is jailed without bond. He'll appear before Judge Tracy Gonzalez, 1:30 this afternoon, Boone County Circuit Court. And the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri says the need to address hunger never goes away. Tomorrow's your opportunity to donate food or money to help hungry residents across the 32-county service area. You'll hear from the president of the Food Bank, Lindsay Young-Lopez, coming up in our 7:30 report. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you on this Tuesday morning by the folks at the Candy Factory. The Candy Factory gets you set up with delicious chocolate gifts to show your appreciation. This holiday season, stop by the Candy Factory, downtown Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle News time, 7:07. In sports, Mike Schilt, the former Cardinals manager who was let go at the end of the season, has been hired by Major League Baseball Commissioner's office. That is according to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Mike Schilt confirming that to Ben Fredrickson, who's a columnist there at the newspaper, telling Ben that he's unable to comment at this time, but he did say he is excited about the opportunity. Could not elaborate beyond that. Schilt's record as manager, 252 and 199 with the Cardinals, postseason appearances in each of his 3 full seasons. In high school and college football, Booneville High School football star DJ Wesolak will be announcing his college football decision tomorrow afternoon, 3:30 at the Booneville Knights of Columbus Hall. He tells ABC 17 sports director Andrew Kaufman he has narrowed his list now to 5 schools. LSU, they have a new coach, Brian Kelly. Georgia, Alabama, USC with a new coach in Lincoln Riley, and the University of Missouri. UI Drinkwitz on this list as well. That's the list he gave to Andrew. No particular order there. And again, that'll be announced at 3:30 tomorrow, Knights of Columbus. Sports brought to you this hour by the Candy Factory. Our news time, 7:08. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Our weather is brought to you this hour by Club Car Wash. Visit clubcarwash.com. 46 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com. Find a job. Post your job opening today. Roads have been quiet this morning in mid-Missouri. We hope that continues. If we need to know about a traffic issue, give us a call or a text, 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes, and we'll have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Please. Mr. Willoughby.
Yes.
Ms. Sasser.
No.
Mr. Horn.
Yes.
Mr. Seaman.
No.
Ms. Snodgrass.
No.
Dr. Strudy Wilhoit.
Yes.
Ms. Wade.
Yes. That motion will carry.
You started to hear some applause last night following vote Columbia Public School Board last night. And I'll tell you why this is so important. It's not about, somebody wins and somebody loses. I'll tell you why this is so important. These parents here in town have got involved, done things they have never done because of their kids. You talk about people like John Potter, who's going and giving presentations to groups, speaking at school board meetings. Mandy Hamlin. And there's another parent who's all of a sudden, Marissa, who has done a lot of work. They got involved. They have affected change. They reached out to 93.9 The Eagle. They reached out to the Attorney General, Eric Schmidt. They reached out to Chuck Basie. That's what our elected officials, remember, that's what they're there for. And they had to go to those elected officials because what I'm told by parents, and some of my experience has been the same, school board does not talk with them. Bottom line, what happened last night?
Well, it was a 4-3 vote, Branden, and the decision was, and we knew it was going to be an action item. We knew there'd be a vote one way or the other because they vote on this every month. But this particular decision was to end CPS's indoor mask requirement. Very important to note, the students will still have to wear, and the staff members on their masks on buses. That is a federal requirement. So this is the indoor mask requirement that's been in effect since August. And the Attorney General is praising the vote. He says, this is why we fight. Superintendent Earwood, and you've played the clip, he didn't really reference the Attorney General in his comments. What he said was he's recommending the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Bottom line, though, January 4th, the indoor mask requirement will go away.
Here's what I think. This might be a little, Steph might laugh at me. By the way, glad you're back, Stephanie. Welcome back into Wake Up Columbia.
Thanks. I'm glad to be back.
Stephanie Pell. There's Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning.
Hannah, the producer, is here.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. If there's something we can do for you, 874-9390. So they're getting ready to put out this bond issue, right?
$80 million. $80 million. Now that'll be voted on in January.
Yeah,
It was discussed last night.
And I don't know. Last time I talked to former superintendent, Dr. Pete Stiepelman, we'd had a conversation, and less than a year ago, he estimated they figured there was about 40 to 43,000 parents in the Columbia Public School District, almost 20,000 students. So you're talking something that's affecting 60,000 people. That's a third of the population of Boone County. 60,000 people. That's more than half of the population of the city limits of Columbia. This affects a lot of people. So I'm thinking, we have this bond vote going up. We're pretty sure the majority of parents and students, I'm guessing based on the students who spoke last night, students getting involved saying, come on, man, do away with these dang masks. I'm guessing the school board said, we realize people are on to us. We're just wanting to show people who's in charge. We don't know what we're talking about. As several people, and I'll play the audio for you, several people highlighted this last night, said, you guys don't know what you're talking about, and you double talk. You talk out of the end of your rear end when you say, we want masks, we want to be safe. But then we're at basketball games, hundreds of kids shouting and yelling, and then prior to the meeting last night, these kids were honored. Congratulations to those kids, by the way. It was so cool to see. They go and they're shaking hands. And then they talk for 2.5 hours about how we got to wear a mask and be safe. Stephanie, I'm going mad.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
Man.
And again, they're the only ones in mid-Missouri with the mask mandate. It's way past time to get rid of that thing. And yeah, good for the students for showing up. I was telling you, we went to St. Louis this weekend. My kids had to wear a mask for the first time in a while. And they haven't worn masks in I don't know how long, and they were angry. I mean, one of them was like, I can't get any oxygen. The other one's like, I'm not wearing this dang mask.
Wait, let me guess. The one screaming she couldn't get any oxygen, was that Eden?
No, that was Amelia.
Oh, wow.
But Eden was just like flat out refusing, and they, kids are smart, and they see, they're like, why? I don't understand. We don't wear a mask at anything else we do. Why now, when we're in this one building in this one city, do we have to wear a mask? Same thing, like you were saying with the schools. Why, when I'm at a basketball game, do I not have to wear a mask? Or when I'm at sports practice, or when I'm doing dance, or whatever all these kids are doing, right? The school is the only place they're wearing a mask.
So I'm thinking, you know what? We feel like most of the parents in the district, 40,000 parents, they're done with the mask. Most of our students are done with it. We're really in the minority. We're just want to exert control, because as Democrats, that's what we like to do on the school board. We're the boss. We're in charge. We don't know what the hell we're talking about, as people definitely pointed out more than once last night. They don't know what they're doing. I was going somewhere and I forgot the point that I was trying to make.
Well, you were bond issue? Is that?
Oh yeah, the bond issue.
Okay,
that's probably why. Hey, we need the parents on our side for this. We better do away with the mask mandate and quid pro quo.
Well, yeah, and I think you were saying that the Democrats want control, but I would say that Democrats, their whole thing is more government will solve all of our problems, and I think the MO for school districts is always more money will solve all of our problems, and we know that is not the case. And again, we're wasting a whole lot of time picking fights between parents and the school district about mask mandates when everyone else has decided this is not a good idea, when we could be focused on writing, reading, math, things that you would hope your school district will be focused on, instead of having this fight day in and day out.
Incidentally, did you see some of the latest test scores?
Yeah, not good. Good.
We're talking not quite as bad as Biden's approval numbers, which, by the way, new polling, he continues to go down. One of the speakers last night, she's grandma, students in the school district, and a former nurse.
The instructor finally did come up and say, well, we have some far retarded masks, and for a class that day of about 15 students, you had 3, which tells me you're not really serious about protecting our children. And especially as I see how I've been in the schools, I see how the masks have been worn. They're not appropriate. I'm nursing in over 40 years. I think I know how to wear a mask.
And if you watch the school board meeting, one of the big rules of the regardless, whatever the heck you think about the mask, you see these school board, the worst thing you can do, I don't know if it's worse to wear it below your nose or touch it, but you see all these school board members, they are so full of crap if they're talking, and I mean that. I'd go to court and tell them to their face, you're full of crap. And here's exhibit A, B, and C. And then I would duck out and say, hey, Stephanie, can you come help me with this? But really, because you watch them in the meeting, they're all about, we got to wear masks, we got to keep people safe, and they're touching their mask and they're pulling it down. They're hypocrites. Either they're dumb or they're hypocrites.
Brandon's going to be in the bathroom with the timer. Was that 30 seconds that you washed your hands? Because I feel like these are the same people who rinse their hands and move along.
What happened in St. Louis this weekend? At the St. Louis City
where
Museum.
I was at. Yeah, I was at the City Museum, and there was a guy and sometimes a gal. They had a big sign, and they were walking through indoors. Those signs where it's pizza, the pizza guy on the side of the road? It was kind of like that, and it said, wear a mask. And if you had it pulled down, a couple times I wasn't around. The place is huge. There was no one within, 20 feet of me, and I kind of pulled my mask down, and somebody came up to me and was like, make sure your mask is up. And I'm like, ooh, who am I protecting here? But can you imagine being the guy with that sign?
And do you get creative with it? You see some they're spinning and dancing.
I should have taken a picture of him, darn it.
That would be awesome. Here's more from Grandma Bonnie.
When it should be worn. And they're not doing, well, first of all, they can't do the job that you think they're doing scientifically. And they're not happening that way because of the way they're being worn, not being mandated in all classes, and I understand why. In fact, in a basketball game tonight, I had a parent text me about all the kids running around without a mask inside the school, but yet huddled together. I witnessed it, I think I mentioned it before, in the homecoming game. All the students huddled together on the bleachers, and I'm glad they were having a good time and talking and hugging and doing all of this, but yet you can't be even spaced out in a chair in a classroom without a mask.
And so you have more than one speaker get up last night and say, you know, you guys really don't know what you're talking about. And it wasn't a personal, we got to win this. They pointed out facts that highlighted a lot of these board members. They do not know what they're talking about. I did reach out to one of the school board members, David Seaman, who's also running for mayor. I have yet to hear back from him. Some of the other big stories this morning. Ocean now looking over at this Amazon building across the river over there in Illinois, saying, well, it wasn't really built to withstand a tornado. And everybody's going like, yeah, we know. And meanwhile, and I love this statement from Amazon, while Jeff Bezos shooting more people up into space over the weekend, they put out a statement. By the way, some of y'all may not get all your packages this holiday season because of that, because of what happened there. We are getting ready for our big one-for-one holiday food drive, Commerce Bank, tomorrow all day, 6 to 6 at the mall. Come join us. I think Hannah's going to be there. I believe Stephanie's going to be there.
I'll be there.
Nice. We'll be there. We'll be there sometime. I'll be there later in the afternoon.
Check your email.
Same.
Oh, man.
Later in the afternoon. If you're doing your Christmas shopping, stop by.
Check that email.
It's another TikTok story because I know we love those so much.
You might want to call. Does it all? Salter Lawn Service. Okay, 74 tomorrow is the high, and I'm loving it. Let's not be lulled into a sense of security. We know the snow will come, and then when it is, people getting out their snow blowers, and oh my gosh, it's not starting. Call Salter Lawn Service now. Here's why. They can service that stuff. It's great. I mean, what do we use the snow blower? 2-3 times a year, sometimes no times a year, and then a couple years later, we get out to go, and we're like, man, it's not starting. Well, I don't know. I haven't run it in 2 years. Call Salter now. Seriously, think about it. And I know you're busy. You're watching Wake Up Columbia on the YouTube channel live this morning. It's popped up. You got it popped up on the smart TV in the house so everybody can hear what's happening in the news, what the weather's going to do. So when you do that, make sure that you think about Salter Lawn Service. Think, man, snowblower, is it going to be ready to go? Maybe I have a plow. I need it attached to the front of my riding mower. They can do that for you. As a matter of fact, they'll come pick your stuff up, take it to the shop, and then Salter will come back and deliver it to your house. Really easy thing for you, man. Salter, one call, does it all.
This is Wake Up Columbia, featuring Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
Please get him on TV. Destroying everything you have accomplished, Brian Kilmeade texted. Quote, can he make a statement? Ask people to leave the Capitol, Sean Hannity urged.
Liz Cheney on that January 6th committee, reading texts that were exchanged between some folks, including folks from Fox News. And a lot of the news outlets yesterday, all over this. Mark Meadows, look what's happening. There is still nothing that I see, and I ain't no lawyer, but still just nothing criminal. But, you know, these folks, they are going to run, they are going to go, and they are going to continue to dig because they're immature and they lack sanity, you know, to go after something. Hey, yeah, and we're seeing some of the people there that day that did, they're paying the price. Some of them being sentenced to jail. They're getting jail terms. All that's happening. They are responsible, but to hold somebody else responsible for other people's stuff, crazy. Okay, 7:25-ish. Sorry, I'm looking at 3 clocks. This clock says it's an hour fast, and I can't fix it.
Are you still whining?
I am.
Come on, man.
7:25-ish, which means it's
7:28.
Time for What's Hot with Hannah.
So I said that we were going to be talking about a TikTok. We're really talking about a TikToker.
Okay.
So a person who creates TikToks, if you're unfamiliar with the term, Branden.
Yeah, I'm learning.
So her name is Demi, and Demi has traded a bobby pin for a house over the course of like a year and a half. So she...
Oh,
have you heard about this?
There was an episode on The Office about this. You start with...
So she started with a bobby pin, and she did a series of like small trades and slowly grew in value until she was finally able to get like a $40,000 house.
What?
Yes.
I've heard that before, and I think the episode of The Office, it was magic beans. Jim had some magic beans, and Dwight traded, and it's just crazy. And I guess some people can actually do this where you start with just a very small item, and you end up with a Corvette.
So some of her like bigger trades towards the end, she got like what's called a Chipotle celebrity card, which is very rare and gets you like free Chipotle, I guess. So she traded that for a mobile home, and then somebody with this house expressed interest in the mobile home, and they trade the house for the mobile home. That's how she got her house.
How about that? And that's What's Hot with Hannah. Pretty cool story. It's posted on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page, and if you're there and you've never been there before, give us a like, man.
Well, it's not posted yet, but it will be.
Oh, when it's posted, when you get on there, give us a like. We'd love to have you as a member of the family. Fox News coming up here, 7:30's pretty harsh news for supporters of Trump. Some people are thinking Fox News has that. Brian Hauswirth is here with what went down last night's Columbia Public School Board meeting. And then at 7:35, Stavity missed a classic moment on the show yesterday, and it involved her. So we'll get in. Yeah, you want to stick around and hear this stuff. That's coming up at 7:35. I have your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. Sunshine, 64 today. 60 is the low tonight. Tomorrow, 74 degrees. Thursday, gets cold again. High only 52. Right now, 45.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Kentucky's governor says he expects more bodies to be found in debris from Friday night's tornadoes. 74 deaths in that state are confirmed so far, 14 in other states. Thousands of people are homeless or told they should leave their homes for now. Derek Parrott's on the Mayfield, Kentucky City Council.
There's not a place for people to be with no power, especially this time of year. It's getting cold, no water, no power. So I think right now an immediate need is that people get shelter.
He was on Fox and Friends. President Biden and West Virginia Senate Democrat Joe Manchin have spoken again about the senator's issues with the president's Build Back Better spending plan.
A White House spokesman said it was a constructive call and more talks are expected, while the senator said the two men were talking about different iterations of the spending plan.
Fox's Jill Nato. At least 40 people have been killed in a gasoline truck explosion in Haiti. Many more people are hurt. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. Right now in Columbia, it is 46 degrees. We're expecting a high today of around 64. It's 44 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. Applicants who are interested in working for the Kawasaki engine plant being built in neighboring Boonville are encouraged to attend tonight's meet and greet in Columbia. That event will take place from 6 to 8 here in Columbia, Holiday Inn Executive Center. You'll be able to learn more about the available positions, meet supervisors, team members as well. Kawasaki announced in October it is building the plant in Boonville. They are creating more than 270 new jobs. They are looking for people interested as well in 4-day work weeks. You'd work 10 hours a day at the plant. If you're interested in coming tonight, you need to bring a paper resume. 6 to 8 Holiday Inn Executive Center. Columbia School Board has voted 4-3 to end the district's indoor mask requirement effective January the 4th. Our news partner ABC 17 reporting CPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood suggested the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Several parents speaking out against the mask requirement during the meeting last night. The school board also awarding a $369,000 bid to a Columbia company to provide security enhancements and upgrades at 3 middle schools. They are Gentry, Lang, and Smithton. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has 48 crew members on the ground this morning in tornado-damaged Mayfield. That's Kentucky, performing search and wellness checks. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the last tornado the task force responded to was Jefferson City back in 2019. They were also in Joplin in 2011.
You know, we have people on this deployment that were actually in Joplin. And it was described to them as very similar as far as destruction, only on a more grander scale. This tornado was massive in size.
Blumenkamp says his crews also have canines and seismic listening devices. President Biden will be in Mayfield tomorrow. Senate leader for the Republican side, Mitch McConnell, is also expected to be in Mayfield tomorrow. Task Force 1, again, with 48 members there. We're still getting details about that presidential visit coming up tomorrow morning as they still work those out. A reminder that Capitol Caroling is tonight. It's one of the biggest events of the year in Jefferson City, specifically during the holiday season. That will be in the Capitol Rotunda. JCPS students will be performing, and that is open to the public 7 o'clock tonight, and that will be packed. It always is. Grandparents, parents, students as well. For those of you who can't make it, you can listen to it live on our sister station, News Radio 950 KWOS. Steve Morse will be on hand tonight bringing you the coverage on KWOS. Our news time is 7:34, and news is brought to you this hour by Dr. Kent Willett Dental Associates. Make an appointment now, WillettDentalAssociates.com. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:34. In sports, we'll start with hockey. The Blues at the Dallas Stars tonight. They will drop the puck at 7:30 in Texas tonight. Former Cardinals manager Mike Shildt hired by Major League Baseball in the commissioner's office. That's according to columnist Ben Fredrickson of the Post-Dispatch, who spoke to Mr. Shildt, who was unable to comment other than to say he's excited about the opportunity. In high school and college football, big decision coming up tomorrow for a young man, very talented. His name is DJ Wesolak, wide receiver, and he's a star athlete at Boonville High School. He'll announce his college football decision at the Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall at 3:30. He spoke to ABC 17 sports director Andrew Kaufman. He's got his final list, narrowed his list to 5 schools: LSU, Georgia, Alabama, USC, University of Missouri. The decision tomorrow, 3:30 at the Knights of Columbus Hall. Our sports is brought to you by Adam Kinser, ServiceMaster of Columbia.com, 573-443-8383. Our news time, 7:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Roads right now quiet in mid-Missouri. Beautiful sunrise. And, of course, our days continuing to get shorter, so be prepared for that. Our sun will set this afternoon at 4:48 p.m. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes and breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
After 18 years, I have decided to leave Fox.
Chris Wallace. Somebody put this, and I got to give credit to a friend of mine, Roger, at Columbia Pachyderms, talking about Chris Wallace. I get a lot of people don't like him. He says, how rare is it that you see a drowning rat jump on to a sinking ship, because he is going to CNN. And he's not even really going to CNN. He's going to their streaming service, CNN Plus, which you have to pay for. CNN is free with your cable, DirecTV, whatever it is you have, and nobody watches it. Like if they get 900,000 viewers on a show, they're like, man, check that out, Anderson Cooper. I got 800,000 viewers last night. That's a big thing for them. If somebody, let's say at Fox, gets 800,000 viewers, almost out of a job. Just give you an idea, MSNBC, they do better than CNN. So if nobody's watching CNN for free, who is going to pay for the streaming service?
Yeah, and you think when CNN was looking at him, they called Fox and were like, what do you think about this guy? And they were like, yeah, he's really, really, really good. You should totally take him. And now that he leaves, people over at Fox are like high-fiving, like, thank goodness we got rid of that guy.
Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. There's Stephanie Powell.
Good morning.
Brian Hauswirth is here.
Good morning.
It's Hannah, the producer.
Howdy.
My name is Branden. Rathert, 874-9390, 874-9390. A lot of texts reacting to what happened in Columbia Public School Board, and I do want to get to some of them because some of these texts cover things happening in other districts. SBC also got a cease and desist letter just like CPS did late yesterday afternoon. CPS also voted away the quarantine procedures effective January the 4th. Yeah, just so you know, that is effective, so you still got to do it for a couple of weeks.
That's right.
And then at Christmas break, magically everything will be gone. SBC had their board meeting last night. They chose to kick the can down the road, schedule a special meeting for December 21st. That's from one of our listeners. This is from Ray. At the beginning of the year, there was a school board meeting in Hauswirth. At this meeting, one of the teachers got up, spoke about how we needed a mask in order to keep kids in seats. School board members were very reasonable, listened to the community, and decided to rescind the mask mandate. At that meeting, that teacher was very vocal about the need to wear masks doesn't wear a mask. Once it became a choice, they didn't wear it. So what Ray is saying there is what we're seeing a lot, even in the Columbia Public School District, or even with people like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, John Kerry, Nancy Pelosi. They want everybody to wear masks, but not them. So, they're full of crap. They want us to do it. They know that they're not that effective because they aren't doing it themselves. We'll have more on this throughout the morning. So, and it does go into effect January 4th.
That's right. January the 4th, and the vote was 4-3. You did a nice job playing the soundbite of the vote so people could hear how everyone voted. I think one of the things that probably should be emphasized, and I've tried to emphasize it, is obviously the Attorney General is taking a victory lap and on Twitter and very, very pleased with the vote. But the superintendent is saying the reason they're doing it is because of the federal approval of the COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. But whatever decision, bottom line, it's going away.
So nobody is saying, oh, man, Eric Schmidt's on our case. Not only is he honest about this, but he's investigating a school district. That's beyond one of his letters that he sends out, is beyond a threat of a lawsuit. His office is investigating our school district, man. That is not good at all. And I found, the victory lap thing, yeah, it's a good, but, those teachers and those administrators, Dr. Yearwood, they all live here too. I might run into them at the grocery store or something, so I'm going to take it easy. I'm guessing, though, we're going to have to ask these parents for an $80 million bond issue or something.
That will be voted on next month. And I got a hold of the Michelle Baumstark sent me because I was looking for more long-range plans, Branden, and just based on the long-range plans, it's, I can't speak for the board, but they're going to put it on the ballot in April because they not only are looking at 2022, I see a potential one in 2026, 2028, 2030. So they spread these out. That is not, and for people that's not totally unfamiliar. They
Yeah.
generally do those bond issues every 2 to 3 years. But yeah, they're looking at it, and we'll get a lot more details in January about what the specifics will be. But we know it'll be for a new elementary school for sure.
Last time we'll talk about this morning, then we'll move on. Except for stuff as it relates to our school districts here in town. NBA had to postpone Chicago Bulls' next couple of scheduled games. Every single vaccinated player on the team got a COVID out. All of them. They got get the vaccine, and you won't have to wear the mask. Get the vaccine, you won't have. And in California, they could give a crap. In California, I think starting tomorrow, you will wear a mask whether you're inside or outside.
Note to self: don't go to California. Oh wait, I wasn't going there anyway.
Right. Unbelievable.
But we love California, Missouri.
We love California, Missouri. Love what happened. I'm sorry you missed this yesterday, Steph. We got talking about the Zimmer Wake Up Columbia Christmas party over the weekend at the Olive Capri Casino in Boonville. And we were talking about a bunch of different things, and I know I'm working on it. I get scatterbrained. I think the longer I stay sober, the worse my memory is. I'm not kidding.
I think you're just getting old.
Could be. So we're talking about me and your husband meeting up at the casino. He comes over. Hey, Branden, how's it going? Drops a quarter in the thing and wins $160. So that's one of the stories I'm trying to tell.
Okay.
Because, I'll tell 3 stories at once, and I'm not trying to. Please bear with me. I'll get through it one day. So I'm telling a couple of stories at once.
I would just like to point out I am the youngest member of the Wake Up Columbia crew. I didn't go to the casino.
By the way, this is audio from yesterday's show. Even Hauswirth dropped some coin there.
Little penny swats.
Of course.
Yeah.
By the time you guys were texting me saying that, you were winning money, I was already in bed.
No kidding.
No kidding.
I got to tell you, do I have time to sidetrack for a quick story in penny slots? All right, just remind me where I was.
You were saying that Stephanie's husband is good looking.
Stephanie, doesn't your husband call himself like a trophy husband?
Sometimes, yes.
Hey, how much of the story can I tell on the air? About
boy.
He was talking about, her husband was talking about, you were teasing him about one of the girls was attracted to him or something. Somebody was attracted to him or something, and I told him, dude, don't sell yourself short. All these women are attracted to you.
Including maybe one Branden Rathert.
Oh, gosh. Tomorrow, it is our annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. We are so excited for this because basically, we say it's for the food bank, it's for doing this. But, every single dollar that comes in, man, it's going to be helping folks. Recently got to do a tour of the food pantry and because there's kind of 2 different things, food pantry. And by the way, just so you know, when you donate tomorrow, whether you come out to the mall, we'll be out there, I think, by the Dillard's side, right off the stadium. We'll be out there all day. You're out there for a bit?
10 to 2, and between Wendy's and Dillard's is where we're going to be.
10 to 2.
3 to 6.
3 to 6.
I'll be there 3 to 6. Come out and join us.
Did you actually know that, or did you just need Stephanie and I to tell you that just now?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
You are correct. But anytime you donate $1, you're helping somebody that, let's say, all of a sudden they had to go to the doctor, had to pay a bunch of money, they had to get medicine, or all of a sudden they lost their job and they're like, okay, I got to make it through just the next few days for whatever reason, something's come up, whatever. And that's what this food bank does. It's just to help people temporarily.
Yep.
It's not like, hey, come here every week, here's your free food. It is not like that at all.
One of the stories I'll have at 8:03, Branden, is with Lindsay Lopez, who is the executive director there at the food bank. And your point is exactly what she said. Many of the people that they're serving right now have never needed help before, and they're folks that some of them have actually volunteered over there in the past, either at the headquarters on Vandiver, which we toured, or the pantry. But what they really need is canned meat and canned vegetables. So there's other things as well, but yes. And by the way, people have asked about Kawasaki in this story as well. Our website is temporarily down. I want to let people know in case they're looking for it. The technicians are working on it, but I'll have more on that food bank story as well. But yeah, they need canned meat and canned vegetables.
Usually when we talk about St. Louis, it's usually not good. I happen to think that what they've done now, I think this is a good idea.
I think so, too.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. What they are doing now and why we think it's a good idea, Stephanie and I will get into that coming up. We'll do that at 8:53 here on 93.9 The Eagle. This is Wake.
Let's go. Wake up Columbia. 93.9 The Eagle.
You know, I'm tired of arguments about right and left. I'm tired of state politicals sitting up there telling me what's best for my kid. I'm going to be honest, sometimes I get tired of you guys telling me what's best for my kid.
Danny Spry, by the way, Columbia Fire Protection District, who This guy, so that's him last night. Columbia Public School Board, they voted. Do away with his mask thing. They're done with it. I don't know if it was the fear of the investigation. I don't know if it was, which is the investigations of the Attorney General's office into the Columbia Public School District separate of the letters and lawsuits, stuff like that. So I don't know what it was. Was it they felt like they need to curry favor with voters because they're going to be asking for a whole bunch of money here real soon? So what was it? Was it, well, we were about ready to do it anyway. I don't know. But Danny Spry showed up last night, gave some words. I love that. I'm tired about arguing the left and the right. Let's just argue what's wrong and right. So the school board, so here's what's going to happen. 20,000 students, roughly 43,000 parents going to be affected by this starting January 1st when kids go back, which isn't January 4th. It's like in the middle of the week. But when they come back from spring break, because I think New Year's is on a Saturday this year or a Sunday. Christmas is on a Saturday. Does that mean New Year's is on a Saturday or New Year's Eve?
I believe so.
Anyhow, it's a weird schedule. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia and Danny Spry, Columbia Fire Protection District. When you come see us tomorrow at our 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank, I mean, this guy, every year that we've been doing this, he's there all day. He's just, and he's so passionate about this community. You know, he's a frontline responder. And this is not the first school board meeting he's gone to. Back in, I think in the spring when there was a big meeting, he went and gave an impassioned speech that had the people on their feet clapping for this guy. So he's one of the speakers last night at the meeting. Welcome into the show. Usually when we talk about St. Louis, it's not good. I happen to be okay with this. The mayor there, Tasharbert Jones, is signing a bill that repeals some of the city marijuana laws. In other words, I think back in the day we used to call it, and I don't know how much exactly, but it used to be back in the day like scratch. You know, if you
35 grams or less.
See, and I don't know how much marijuana that is.
I have no idea.
Does anybody, like, what? So you could have 35 grams of marijuana, and the way it is currently, that's a criminal offense.
Under the local ordinance.
Or local ordinance, okay.
It'd still be criminal under federal law.
Okay.
But
they're changing the city law, so where you wouldn't be charged. If somebody found you had that much weed on you, get out of here. We don't even care.
Okay, dude.
So there are 453 grams in 1 pound. So
but like how many grams is in a joint? Is that like one joint or like two?
There you go. Cut to the chase.
That's what I want to know.
I think it depends on the joint.
No, I think this is good, but I also kind of think, is she using this as an excuse? Because the mayor said, last week, Eric Schmidt told her, hey, be quiet. He said basically be quiet. I think maybe he wanted to say shut up. You're the mayor of the murder capital of the state. Basically is what he said. And because she said he was trying to kill people, I think. Anyway, she says enforcing stringent marijuana laws diverts our police resources from addressing the most violent crime. Is she saying that they're not getting the murderers, and we have all this violent crime because they're so busy?
Yeah.
Out there trying to get people for 35 grams of marijuana. I don't think that's why they're having so much violent crime, but it almost feels like she's trying to use this as an excuse.
We've just been so busy going door to door. You got any weed? 35 grams or less? Yeah, murders have. Yeah, you're right. The reasoning there does not fit, but I'm cool with that. And I'll tell you how I got several it's been 10 years ago. My kid got into trouble. I had to fly to Idaho. And he was in court. He had weed. And so I go to support him and, say, hey, dude, you're going to have to pay the consequences here. You broke the law, and I'm going to come here and support whatever consequences the judge throws at you. And I walked into this courtroom in Twin Falls County, Idaho, and there must have been 100 kids between the ages of 18 and 22 years old, packed. And it was all marijuana stuff. Mm-hmm. And this was, 10 years ago, and I was still one of those, drugs should be illegal. I was on board with the medical marijuana, but I saw this happen. I'm like, there's got to be something different here we can do. And now it's like, whatever. I don't think most people care. I'm surprised when we hear about a pot bust.
Yeah, well, and I think it's kind of a two-pronged approach. I mean, we've talked a lot on the show about, folks who are out there on the criminal justice reform side who are, are trying to get people who are in prison or who've been severely punished out and saying, hey, there's no reason to keep punishing these folks on these small drug offenses. So if you're in that camp and you're saying, let's let these folks out for more serious crimes, then why would you be punishing people on these little piddly possession crimes? So I think, overall, I think it also goes to the crazy way and the huge shift that we've had in such a short time on marijuana. And I think, like you said, most people now are just like, yeah, whatever.
Sorry, I'm reading some of these texts.
You're cracking yourself up, I think.
Oh, no. Aaron says, 874-9390, nothing like a drunk helping a pothead get out of jail.
Oh, burn.
We did get a message on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page from, I'm just going to say, a friend of the show.
Okay.
He says that an average for a joint is around a gram.
Okay.
So 35 grams is 35 joints?
30?
That's kind of a lot, right?
Here's some more. 35 grams is an ounce and a quarter. I still don't know how much is an ounce.
I've never had marijuana. I have no idea.
An ounce is like a slice of bread.
What about like a brownie? How many grams is in a brownie?
What a gummy. Can you ask Hauswirth how much weed is in a joint?
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Coming up, Ryan Hauswirth. He is going to be here talking about what happened last night's Columbia Public School Board meeting. Fox News is here, too. California, for real, gone off the deep end. John Schneider. We had a chance to have John Schneider, Dukes of Hazzard, here on the show. Rathert messed it up big time. I have an update on that story coming up at 8:10.
Dozens of people still unaccounted for in Kentucky. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I'm hearing that. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing they're still looking for bodies.
National Guard troops are assisting with that, helping sift through tornado rubble.
A lot of time, once you start cleaning, is when you start finding people.
Derek Parrott's a councilman in Mayfield, one of the most devastated communities. It's up to at least 74 people dead in the state. The youngest victim, a 2-month-old girl. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron tells Fox there have been reports of looting.
Bad actors that are trying to take advantage of this awful situation. So there are folks on the ground that are trying to stop that sort of conduct.
There's also a lot of tornado cleanup in 4 other states where at least 14 more people were killed. Congress is targeting a former top Trump aide, and Mark Meadows tells Fox
it's disappointing but not surprising.
Fox's Jared Halpern is live at the Capitol.
The House Select Committee investigating January 6th has recommended a criminal contempt citation against former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows for refusing to testify about actions happening inside the White House during the Capitol breach.
There has been no stronger case in our nation's history for a congressional investigation into the actions of a former president.
Committee Vice Chair Republican Liz Cheney read text messages provided by Meadows from Fox News host and the former president's son, Donald Trump Jr., urging the president to tell people to leave the Capitol. Meadows has said he will not provide material he says is shielded by executive privilege. Dave.
Jared, we've now topped 50 million COVID cases in the U.S. in the pandemic as cases rise while the new Omicron variant spreads. California will join New York this week, imposing mask mandates in indoor places. Meanwhile, Pfizer says its new pill to treat COVID appears effective against Omicron, while overall studies show the drug reduced hospitalizations and deaths in high-risk adults who got the coronavirus by 89%. America's listening to Fox News.
When news breaks, millions are turning to Newsmax. Get the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the truth from Washington. Each weekday, Chris Salcedo probes vaccine mandates and looks at the potential dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, and more. Millions are also watching the free Newsmax app on their phones. So download it today and start watching Newsmax for news you can really trust.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03. Good morning, everyone. We're expecting a beautiful day today. Sunny skies, a high of 64. Cloudy tonight with a low near 59 if you're heading out for Capitol caroling. Should be nice, and another nice day tomorrow. Cloudy and a high of 74 degrees. Right now, 47 in Columbia. It's 46 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. President Biden will be traveling to tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky tomorrow. About 20 residents in that community died in Friday evening's massive tornado. Others still unaccounted for. Columbia-based Missouri Task Force 1 has 48 crew members in Mayfield. They are performing search and wellness checks. Boone County Fire District Assistant Chief Gail Blomenkamp says they have about 100,000 pounds of equipment with them.
This being a collapsed area where we have down buildings and debris, we anticipate doing large area or wide area search and rescue type missions. We could be going into collapsed structures, doing shoring, breaching, breaking.
Blomenkamp spoke on Wake Up Columbia. The governor of Kentucky, Governor Beshear, says there are now 67 confirmed tornado fatalities statewide. Missouri's Attorney General praising news that Columbia School Board has voted to end CPS's indoor mask requirement. Our news partner ABC 17 reports last night's board vote 4-3. Superintendent Brian Yearwood, the doctor, recommending the change due to a federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. 3 CPS middle schools will be getting buzz-in systems. Columbia School Board awarding last night a $369,000 bid to Columbia's Grove Construction. The projects will be at Gentry, Lang, and Smithton Middle Schools, funding coming from a voter-approved bond issue. Booneville's economic development officials encouraging anyone interested in working at the Kawasaki Booneville plant to attend a meet and greet tonight in Columbia. That event starts at 6, goes until 8. Holiday Inn Executive Center. Potential applicants are encouraged to bring their resume tonight. Kawasaki building that plant. It's expected to open up in 2022. Kawasaki also offering 10-hour, 4-day work weeks at the Booneville plant. An accused murderer from Columbia remains jailed without bond this morning after he fled to Iowa after the murder. He is 36-year-old Mark Achterberg. He is charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action for the November killing of Justin Stidham. He was shot to death on North Kent Drive, that is just north of Columbia. Tomorrow is your opportunity to donate food or money to assist neighbors and friends in mid-Missouri who are in need and hungry. Zimmer Radio Group sponsoring the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 food drive. It takes place tomorrow outside Columbia Mall and also at Jefferson City's Orshwin. That's on Missouri Boulevard. Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri President Lindsey Young Lopez says many people at the food pantry are receiving help for the first time.
What resonates with me, what makes this job meaningful to me, is the fact that any one of us can become food insecure at any time. We're just one tragic accident or event or life circumstance away from being that person who needs help.
93.9 The Eagle will have live reports from Columbia Mall tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can drop off donations during that time. And it's one of the biggest traditions of the holiday season. You folks in Jefferson City know what it is. It's called Capitol Caroling. The 83rd annual event is tonight in the Missouri Capitol Rotunda in Jefferson City. Couldn't do it last year because of the issue of COVID. Back again tonight. We'll have live coverage for those of you who can't make it on our Zimmer station, KWOS, News Radio 950. Steve Morse and Ryan Merrill will be on hand to bring you that audio coming up tonight, 7 o'clock live from the Capitol Rotunda. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you in this 8 o'clock hour by Hemi Construction. Homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. Our news time, 8:07. In sports, Mike Schultz is heading from St. Louis to Major League Baseball's commissioner's office, likely based in New York. St. Louis Post-Dispatch reporting that while Schultz is unable to comment at this time, he is excited about the opportunity. Blues in action tonight on the road against Dallas, 7:30. The puck will drop. And a Boonville football standout will make his final decision on college football coming up tomorrow at 3:30 at the Knights of Columbus Boonville. Mizzou is one of the final 5 schools on his list. We'll tell you more about him coming up at 8:30 this morning. Our sports is also brought to you by Hemi Construction. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:07. All right, Kevin, thank you. It's 47 here in Columbia.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check at 8:08, 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com is brought to you by MidmoHires.com. Local companies looking for local people. Things have been pretty quiet on the roads this morning. Not aware of any major traffic issues. If we're missing something, let us know. 573-874-9390. We'll have more team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Hannah? Sorry.
And I noticed again, as a nurse, how serious you are about not passing on infections. I'm glad you welcomed these kids tonight, and I'm glad you gave them personal touch and encouragement for what they have done. And yet you passed on every germ, handshaking one to another, another one following you right behind. Not all of you did that. I was looking. Thank you. But it just shows me you don't understand, and you really are not caring about our students' safety. This is a control issue. And I want you to obey the law, because you're also teaching our students right now, my grandchildren, they don't have to obey the law. The leadership doesn't have to obey the law in our schools, so why should they have to? Want to know why you have some problems? Thank you.
Man, you want to know why you have some problems? Something we've known for a while here on Wake Up Columbia, Columbia Public School District. Last night, now, I don't know what it was, because Dr. Yearwood is saying, hey, it's not because of anything the Attorney General Eric Schmidt did. It's not because 43,000 parents are probably upset with us. Not because 20,000 students in the school district are really tired of being caught in the middle of this. They're tired of wearing masks. They're tired of a lot of them probably don't even understand what's going on. So it wasn't the threat of an investigation. It wasn't this, hey, listen, we had a judge that ruled on this. It wasn't any, it was kind of a more mundane reasoning, I guess.
Yeah, basically, and you played the soundbite, I believe it was right after the 7 o'clock news, Brandon, and really that soundbite you played kind of outlined the superintendent's position. Basically what he said here, and I'm paraphrasing, but he recommended the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. The vote was 4-3. Helen Wade was the last person to vote, and she voted with the superintendent's recommendation. So, again, it's 4-3. Obviously, the indoor mask requirement will stay in effect through the rest of the, there's not many school days left before Christmas, and it will go out of effect. In other words, it will expire when the students return January 4th.
Helen Wade, school board president last night.
Well, I will just briefly say we are at a bit of a crossroads. I think that our district has done a phenomenal job of considering all of the resources of information available and making decisions that are in the best interest of our students.
If you're a parent, and I don't know, I don't have a parent in the school, all I can go by is what I hear from parents and what I see and hear in the news. If you're a parent of a CPS student, do you agree with Dr. Helen Wade? We've done a good job. It's a rhetorical question. 874-9390. Wake Up Columbia, Hannah, the producer, Brian Hauswirth, Stephanie Bell, I am Branden Rathert. Meanwhile, a story out of St. Louis, something we agree with the mayor there, Tashara Jones, basically scaling back criminalization of marijuana.
Yeah, they had some local ordinances, and a lot of municipalities do, that criminalize marijuana, and so she is taking some of that away, one of those being, possession of 35 grams or less. So,
which I think is a great idea. Fine. That's, quit being so about it. And I'll tell you how my mind changed on that. I've always been on board with medicinal marijuana. And then my kid got in trouble some years ago, and go to this courtroom. There's over 100 kids between the ages of 18 and 22 in Twin Falls County, Idaho courtroom. And I'm going, this is crazy. There's something wrong with this. I agree with the mayor on this. Slack off on some of this a little bit. And Mayor Jones, by the way, she's done a lot in her life. And I, by the way, vehemently disagree with just about everything she stands for, but I'm cool with this.
Yeah, she is someone who served in the Missouri legislature. Kim Gardner did too. Both of them, and they're political allies. Cori Bush did not, although I've seen Cori Bush at the Missouri Capitol, either involved in protests or lobbying at the Capitol. But Tashara Jones served in the Missouri House, as did Kim Gardner. Right off the top of my head, I'm going to say 2012, somewhere in there, 2010 to 2014. But she and Kim Gardner were in the House about the same time.
Okay. So this is what everybody is talking about. So we're wondering, and what is it, like under 35 grams? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I don't want to stereotype our listeners, but they know a lot about.
Man, we're getting schooled. Brian, let me ask you first. Do you know, if I had 35 grams of marijuana right now, what that would look like? Is that...
That's not something I could help you with.
But fortunately...
I don't. But I'll tell you, there have been bills over the years that, similar to what the ordinance, those bills never go anywhere in the General Assembly.
35
they really don't.
milligrams, 25 milligrams.
But it's wild that, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this would have been unthinkable, right? And letting folks out of prison for marijuana offenses, unthinkable. And people's opinions have really changed. I mean, the fact that there's marijuana shops all over Columbia, I mean, you couldn't have even thought about that when 10 years ago, probably.
There was a state representative candidate, and this would be back in about 1996, and he went by the name of Chief Wannadoobie. That was what he went by.
He was on the show.
Yes, Chief, he was on your show. And in 1996, I remember an interview. He ran for the legislature. I want to say he was over in Osage County, east of Jefferson City. I remember interviewing him on a radio show. And to your point, Stephanie, almost all the callers, and granted, most of my listeners were elderly, but almost all of them were opposed to what he wanted to do, which is basically to legalize marijuana, and the opinions obviously have changed somewhat on that. But I think if he were alive, he's passed away. If he were alive today, he'd probably be surprised at how things have changed a little bit.
So we don't know 35 is it grams, not milligrams, 35 grams. And I love this from Jack. So St. Louis cops going to be carrying around scales to measure? Is that 35? Is it grams or milligrams?
It's grams.
Grams,
I
okay.
think.
So we're trying to figure out, like, what does that look like? And we have several explanations
off
the text at 874-9390.
Well, and Jack's text reminds me, he's like, are they going to be carrying scales? And there's a famous court opinion back from the 60s. And in that court opinion, the judge was referencing pornography and said, I know it when I see it. So, so I wonder if that's what St. Louis police is like, hey, we probably know whether you have 35 or not. But yeah, I mean, like, how much is in a typical one? We're getting differing opinions. And like Tim says 7 grams and a quarter. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
28 grams in an ounce from Mike. Don't know what that means.
Well, we have lots of friends listening to the Wake Up Columbia broadcast right now.
Shame on you all. Shame on you.
We have lots of members of the Wake Up Columbia family messaging us saying, quote, their friend told them XYZ about marijuana. But we had one friend say that an average for a joint is around 1 gram. And then we had another friend.
Is that what they would call a fatty? 1 gram and 1 joint? See,
well, hang on a second. Let me finish. Another friend messaged and said that 1 gram would be huge and that really half a gram is closer to accurate. Yeah.
And that's the only thing, because I don't smoke weed. I used to, when I was in my 40s. But I don't do it anymore. And I'm serious. I'm not making light of it. Kids don't smoke weed, okay? But that's what I can. So back in my day, and I'm 50 years old, you could buy a nickel bag or a dime bag. And a dime bag cost $25. And if it was thread cents a million, it cost $35.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
You think it would be like
$10.
$10.
I think it used to be, but then
inflation,
Biden-flation, even back then. Dang it, man! Even my weed's going up, Joe. Come on, man. And then you had a nickel bag, and a nickel bag you could get for, I think, $5, and it was just like scratch stuff. And we are getting different description of how much a gram of marijuana is and what goes in a joint. And
the Texter and the Facebook page both are blowing up.
Yeah.
With people chiming in.
So the bill says the measure also states, so the bill they actually passed in St. Louis states that the smell or presence of marijuana no longer can be the sole probable cause for search and arrest. Like, how often now are you smelling marijuana? A lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's smart. You know, you think about the cops in St. Louis and, people are getting murdered all the time, everywhere. I mean, how many murders are there on average a year? It's a lot. And so what we're supposed to think that they're out there like smelling the air for marijuana and going after people for that when people are literally dying in the streets. And I do think, some of her quotes, though, are really outrageous. She says,
Tashura Jones, your mayor.
The mayor. She says enforcing stringent marijuana laws diverts our police resources from addressing the most violent crime. Like, we can't handle our murders because we're so busy, going after people with a joint in their pocket or something. I don't think that's true. I think they have, a larger systemic, police and violence issue. But I do think that this is a step in the right direction for them. And I think we're going to see, more people along these lines.
Charles, Wikipedia told me a typical cigarette contains less than a gram of tobacco. Cindy. 7 grams. I love this. And maybe it's just math. Maybe it's not even about the weed, but Cindy seems to have a grasp on it. 7 grams is a quarter ounce. She goes on to clarify, bottom line, if you're smoking more than 35 grams a month, you're a Bob Marley incarnate. I love it.
It's a lot of marijuana.
Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. I think I introduced everybody. This is 93.9 The Eagle. 24 hours from now, we're going to be at the mall for our annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. So excited about this. We'll have details coming up on how you can help us. Update to the John Schneider story last week.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is, and I'll probably need your help on deciphering this. I think we'll do it at 8:35. But John, a couple weeks ago, last week, I go to my voicemail. I walk by my phone at my desk, and my lights blink. I got messages. And I had like 27 messages or something. So I go through and I start listening to them, and one of them is John Schneider. Says, hey, John Schneider wanted to come on your show, going to be in town. I'm like, oh, great. And then at the end of the message, it says, message received November 1st. So it's like 6 weeks ago.
Come on, man.
The Wake Up Columbia family is very disappointed in you, Branden.
I have an update.
Oh.
To the story. We'll do that for you here at 8:35 on 93.9 The Eagle. Also, we have the Morning Bell coming up. What do you have for us?
Yeah, have you ever gone to a restaurant, especially lately, and not been able to get what you want, not be able to order what you want?
Yes.
We've got an update on that.
That's coming up. Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell. We'll do that at 8:25.
And furthermore, Susan
Wake Up Columbia. News, analysis, opinion, and Hannah the producer. 93.9 The Eagle.
And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to
Madness was his movie, so back in my day,
Boomer.
right? You get, when that teacher would come in with the movie projector and a reel under her arm, you knew you was getting ready to watch a movie the old-fashioned way. 'Cause that's
A reel?
A reel.
A reel what?
A reel of film.
Not like an Instagram reel?
I don't know what that is. But like a tape, film. And you'd watch the movie. And
it wasn't like a VHS tape or something?
It was prior to VHS.
Oh, you are old.
Yes. And there was a movie and it was Reefer Madness. And the movie was put together, I think, like in the 40s or 50s. It said marijuana is the devil's weed, and people are doing all kinds of weird things. And that's where a lot of these old white guy politicians, most of them probably no longer with us anymore, that's one of the big reasons for the changing, I think, the changing view on marijuana is all those old white guys who grew up on watching Reefer Madness learned that, oh my God, it's bad, it's horrible. They're dead. There's a new generation. I'm kind of simplifying it a little bit, but that's just what I think. All right, it's 8:28. Time for the Morning Bell. A little business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
You know when you have like your favorite menu item and you roll up and it's like unavailable?
Yes.
Besides just the McDonald's ice cream.
I was thinking the Gary steak at CC City Broiler, but I get what you're saying.
Well, I guess last summer Taco Bell announced that they eliminated a whole bunch of items off their menu.
Yeah, they did.
And people were really hot. But what the research is showing is this year, 60% of restaurants reported that they have reduced their menu size. And so because of the staffing shortages, because of everything that's going on, they just can't make everything. So they're reducing their menu to try to relieve some of that pressure. But really frustrating. I mean, I go back and forth, though. Would you rather have a whole bunch of stuff that's not very good or a few things that are done really well?
Just let me know when the McRib's coming back, man. Coming up, Fox News is here, what they're doing in California. It's just crazy. They're about going so far left, they're about ready to fall into the ocean. I figure New York is no better. One of the other things, pretty harsh news for us Trump supporters. Fox is on that. Then Brian Hauswirth is here. What happened at last night's Columbia Public School Board meeting? Right now, I have your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. We're going to have a high of 64 today, 59 tonight. Tomorrow, day one. All right, excuse me. It's our annual 1-for-1 holiday food drive with Commerce Bank, the mall, 6A to 6B, 74 tomorrow. And then the day after that, 52. Right now, checking in at 49.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. National Guard troops are helping to look through tornado debris in Kentucky for anyone killed. 74 deaths are confirmed in that state, 14 in others. Thomas Bright's aunt died. He's trying to save some of her stuff.
She's a type of person. She kept everything. She was had turned 80 years old, so she had 80 years worth of photos and letters and pictures because she never threw anything away.
Dozens of people are still unaccounted for. California is reimposing a statewide public mask mandate for coronavirus protection starting tomorrow for at least 1 month.
State health officials are citing a 47% increase in the COVID case rate since Thanksgiving, primarily in counties with low vaccination rates. The mandate requires everyone mask up indoors regardless of vaccination status. And a mega event with 1,000 people or more will require a vaccine card or a negative COVID test within 1 day.
Fox's Matt Finn. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:31. We are warming up here. It's going to be a nice day in mid-Missouri on this Tuesday, December the 14th. 48 right now in Columbia. It's 47 in Jefferson City. At today's high, about 64 degrees. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on at this hour. Applicants who are interested in working at the big Kawasaki engine plant being built in neighboring Boonville are encouraged to attend tonight's meet and greet in Columbia. The event starts at 6, goes until 8 at the Holiday Inn Executive Center. I have much more detailed story on this, 939theeagle.com, times, locations, etc. You'll be able to learn more about the available positions. Kawasaki announced in October they're building a plant in Boonville, creating more than 270 new jobs. If you're going tonight, make sure you bring a paper resume. And those jobs, we are told, pay well above the county average of $35,000 per year. They're not being specific. The State Department Economic Development is not being specific about that. We do know they are more than $35,000 a year. Columbia School Board has voted 4-3 to end the district's indoor mask requirement that is effective on January the 4th. Our news partner ABC 17 reports Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood suggested the change due to federal approval of a COVID vaccine for ages 5 and up. Columbia School Board has also awarded a $369,000 bid to a company to provide security enhancements. They'll do upgrades at 3 middle schools here in town: Gentry, Lang, and Smithton. Columbia-based Task Force 1 has 48 crew members on the ground right now in tornado-damaged Mayfield, Kentucky. They are right now performing search and wellness checks. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp tells 93.9 The Eagle the last tornado this task force responded to was Jefferson City in 2019. He also notes they were in Joplin in 2011.
We have people on this deployment that were actually in Joplin. And it was described to them as very similar as far as destruction, only on a more grander scale. This tornado was massive in size.
Blumenkamp spoke on Wake Up Columbia. President Biden will be in Mayfield tomorrow. Mayfield is not far from Sikeston. It's not far from Charleston, Matthews, Missouri as well. Those are all towns in southeast Missouri's area, not far from Mayfield. And a reminder, Capitol Caroling is tonight, a big event in Jefferson City. It will get underway at 7 o'clock inside the Missouri Capitol Rotunda. JCPS students will be performing, and for those of you who can't make it, they expect a big crowd. You can hear it in its entirety, broadcast live on our sister station, News Radio 950, KWOS. Steve Morse and Ryan Merrill of our staff will be down there producing that broadcast tonight. 93.9 The Eagle News is brought to you by Hemi Construction, homes and lots in the southwest neighborhoods of Chapel Hill Meadows, Nursery Heights, and Creek's Edge. Our news time, 8:34. In sports hockey, the Blues are at the Dallas Stars tonight. 7:30 is the face-off tonight. Former Cardinals manager Mike Schilt has been hired by MLB's commissioner's office. That's according to Ben Fredrickson of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, who spoke to Mike Schilt, confirming it. Can't comment at this time, but he did tell the newspaper he is excited about the opportunity. And finally, high school and college football. Lots of interest in this all over the country. A Boonville High School football star, DJ Wesolak, will announce his college football decision tomorrow at the Boonville Knights of Columbus Hall. That'll start at 3:30. He spoke to Andrew Kaufman, the sports director at ABC 17. He's narrowed his list to 5 schools: LSU, Georgia, Alabama, USC, and the University of Missouri. Again, that announcement will come tomorrow. Our sports brought to you by Betts Jewelers. For gifts that last a lifetime, visit Betts, downtown Columbia. Our news time, 8:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or post your job opening today. Roads right now are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. If you do want to report a traffic issue, you can call or text us, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. Breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
I'm a current practicing nurse. I've been a nurse for 14 years. I'm not going to speak to you about the legality of what you're doing. That's for the courts to do. They've already ruled on that. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. What I'm going to talk about is fear in science. These policies don't involve color, race, education level, any of that. What they involve is fear. You all are fearful, and you continue to push the goalpost back every single time that you get a chance to. So I just ask you all to don't come from a place of fear. Like I said, I understand, and I believe you all have good hearts, that you don't want anyone to die. You don't want anyone to get sick. I don't want my kids to get sick. I don't want anyone here who wants to wear a mask, kids to get sick. If they want to be vaccinated and get every booster, I'm fine with that. If they want to wear 2 masks and goggles and put their kids in a full-body parka or a hazmat suit, I'm fine with that. But as Bonnie said, your handshaking shows that you don't understand science.
So is what he's referring to. So last night, huge school board meeting, Columbia Public School Board meeting last night, and I think the majority of people in town this morning delighted. They're getting rid of that whole mandate thing. And a couple of I'm thinking it's because they know they're going to ask for that $80 million from us in the bond issue. Hey, we got to start lubing these parents up a little bit so it doesn't hurt so much anymore because of what they've been doing for the past 2 years. But I like what he said there. He's referring to, and he's right, this parent here, James, who happens to be a nurse. He's telling before then, you can go watch a school board meeting. They're honoring some students, which is really cool. They have these high honors, and they go through, and then they go through, and they shake all the hands of the board members. So what he's saying, you're a moron if you're going to sit here and tell me I have to wear a mask, but you're going to touch people and stuff? That's insanity. Dr. Randy Tobler is filling in for Gary Nolan today. But let's talk about something else. That's big news this morning. You know what everybody's talking about, though? How much weed is in a gram? I'm not kidding, Doctor. So
our text is full. We have lots of people who have friends who know a lot about marijuana.
A lot of friends. There's a lot of friends that are interested in marijuana. You bet.
And Dr. Tobler actually texted, but because you're a doctor, and doctors are familiar with tables of grams, and marijuana equates to this. So what's the math on a gram of marijuana? And this is important, by the way, because it's kind of making news in St. Louis, and happened to agree with the mayor of St. Louis one time.
Yeah, the mayor of St. Louis repealed an ordinance just basically for small possession of marijuana. And she's saying under 35 grams is no longer going to be a violation of city code, saying, we got more important things maybe to worry about than people who have a couple of joints on them.
Yeah. So how much is gram?
A dry weight, a gram of dry weight is about 28 plus ounce. An ounce is about 28 grams. And so a gram is just a small amount. Okay. I mean, you think about an ounce. An ounce is like if you have a little Halloween size candy bar, the small one, that's about an ounce.
Isn't a shot an ounce?
A shot is 30 milliliters, which is about that's an ounce. But that's liquid. That's liquid, okay. Ounces. So the bottom line is there's more to the marijuana story, I think, than just grams and possession of how many grams, because
it's the strain nowadays.
Well, it has to do. I talked to a gal who's an experienced, a sage and wise substance abuse person who's out, a doc who's out in Colorado, and did an interview with her several months ago, and she said, today's marijuana, especially the food varieties, are not your parents'. It's not your Woodstock marijuana. And that's the problem. So there's a concentration quotient that we need to talk about. That's, how much are you actually getting of the THC? That's what's important.
Yeah, I think I just saw a TikTok, and I think it was Dave Portnoy, who's like the Barstool guy.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he ruined his family Thanksgiving because he ate some chocolate.
Yeah.
And he sounded like he was an experienced user, and he messed up the dosage and ended up, I think, in the hospital from what I saw on TikTok, if it's true.
What we're seeing in emergency departments are people who are having psychotic breaks as a result of just overdosing on THC. That's really the critical question.
Breaks, is it a physical thing or just their mind is so...
Yeah, well, it's a physical brain thing. It's a brain chemistry thing. It leads to a psychotic break where people are having hallucinations, and it can have physical consequences, too. So it's really something we need to be very, very careful about moving forward as we liberalize marijuana, which I think is going to happen. It's a matter, do we do it responsibly?
I was sharing a story, and I say this, the context, I don't behave this way anymore, and I'm not making light of it, and I don't do that stuff anymore. If you know somebody who has issues with it, if you're somebody who has issues with any kind of drug addiction or drinking, please give me a call here at the radio station. I'll show you what I did to not do that stuff anymore. Yeah. But I was sharing this story several years ago. I met my kids in Idaho for Christmas. Going to see all his in-laws, people I don't even know. I know them now, but at the time I didn't. And somebody says, hey, do you want to try a sucker? And I'm like, no. Even back in the day, marijuana was not my thing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, it's Christmas, it's a sucker, it'll be, whatever. So I did the sucker. An hour later, I said, yeah, nothing. And then an hour and a half later, still nothing. I'm like, maybe that's good.
Yeah.
I stand up to go to Grandmama's house. Woo! So, doctor, here I go, and I'm going to this house, and I'm like, I got to come up with a game plan. like I'm doing show prep on how I'm going to handle my visit at the in-laws that I don't know at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And I go there, and I thought the game plan is I'm going to find a spot on the couch, and I'm going to sit there, and I'm not going to move, and I'm not going to interact because...
Which doesn't look suspicious at all.
There you are, curled up in the corner.
In the fetal position.
Eating Cheetos.
Mommy, make it stop.
In the fetal position.
Stop. And I'm sitting there, and I do feel like I'm just, like the couch is absorbing me. And I'm watching, because I don't use a lot of marijuana, so it hit me hard. And it's Christmas. And it's all these people I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's Christmas lights and stuff. I'm losing my mind, doctor.
Yeah.
And I end up chatting with this woman who must have been about 90 years old. And I said something that her off. Mm-hmm. And she looks at me and she says, "Son, what are you saying?" And I said, "I don't know."
With those glassy deer in the headlights eyes, yeah.
I don't know. Okay, we promised to see an update on the John Schneider story.
Yes.
Let me ask you, do you know who John Schneider is?
Dukes of Hazzard guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I asked Stephanie last week, so you know who John Schneider is?
No.
Nope. Hannah, do you know who John Schneider is?
Nope.
We've just dated ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and I have an update to this story. So I'm never at my desk. Now, while you're doing the Gary Nolan show, today I'll be
see you out there.
Yeah, but I'm never at my desk. And I walk by one day and I got some messages. Like, well, better check them. And I get one. It's John Schneider.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, and I know he does stuff on Fox. And apparently he's on Lifetime. He directs movies for Lifetime and all that stuff. I don't know that.
Christian conservative, I think, is Chris, right? Yeah.
And he says, "Hey, I'm going to be in town, and I heard Wake Up Columbia is the show I got to be on." I'm like, "Oh,
it is.
Great! I'm going to call. Yeah, John Schneider, Dukes of Hazzard, he's on." And so said, "Message received November 1st."
Oh.
So I just casually mentioned it, and that was prior to this measures of marijuana. By the way, I have people in law enforcement texting me right now. Well, a gram is this, and this is about how much you'd have to. So, I am.
The Wake Up Columbia family was very disappointed in Branden, knowing that he had missed this message and missed an opportunity for the whole family.
Lots of FOMO.
Yeah.
Lots of FOMO. Yeah.
Yeah. People start texting, "John, I can't believe we didn't get John Schneider." So I go back through after that. I didn't realize people were so passionate about John Schneider. So I go back through and I'm listening to all these and I'm trying, oh, sweet. So I get this guy's email and I email him. I'm like, "Hey, man, you said you could get John Schneider for me. He called and blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Well, yeah, because he was going to be in Missouri first weekend in November. Doesn't make sense to have him on your show now." And then he says to me, and this is where I need the help of Hannah, the producer, and Stephanie Bell. And he says, "I can get Melissa Joan Hart for you." And I said, "Who's Melissa Joan Hart?" And he sends me an email back. He says, "Never mind."
Wasn't she Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yes.
And she was also something else. You don't know? She was on was that Nickelodeon?
I don't know what she was on. Dr. So I can get we can get Melissa Joan Hart on the show.
Clarissa Explains It All. That was the one I was missing.
Let me know. I'll change my schedule.
Thank you.
So
By the way, what are you going to do coming up on the Gary Nolan show?
Jen Bukowski.
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Jen Bukowski is going to visit us. We're going to talk about some things. I have questions about Eric Schmidt and whether he can really tell an elected school board, should they decide to do, like Lee Summit apparently wants to have a mask mandate, and their attorney shot back at him and said, "Hey, you don't. This ruling doesn't apply to that." So we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about Gavin Newsom, who is saying, "Hey, the Texas abortion law may boomerang on conservatives, because what if we pass a similar law? Hey, you rat on your buddy who's putting an AR-15 in the trunk, and now that's a civil penalty, and you can recover $10,000. That may boomerang back on conservatives." We'll talk about that as well.
I'm excited to hear that's
It'll
coming
be
up. Dr. Randy Tobler, he's going to be hosting the Gary Nolan show today while Gary Nolan is on vacation. Coming up, I think we might get into some leftovers as we get set for our big one-for-one holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. Tomorrow is going to be going on all day at the mall, so hopefully you'll join us there. And maybe we'll do some we missed some good stuff today. Leftovers. Big old healthy dose of leftovers coming up.
Good old boy. Never meaning no harm.
It's every day. Hey, here's the few websites I get on. I get Facebook and news, maybe weather, whatever it is. 93.9, The Eagle. Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau's website should be a part of that, too. bbb.org. And here's why. Just every day they put up, like, studies. It's not just scams and all that stuff, but they put up, like, studies on, hey, consumers are finding this with this type of product they offer, which here's what I find the most helpful. The Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau offers guidelines on, let's say you want to hire a dog groomer or somebody to install a fence or a home inspector. What kind of questions are you supposed to ask when you're hiring a home inspector? How much and do you do good work? Well, they have guidelines, some guides, some helpful suggestions from the Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau. Just go to the website, bbb.org.
People are talking about Branden Rathert.
He's a jackass.
This is Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
I would just like to point out I am the youngest member of the Wake Up Columbia crew. I didn't go to the casino.
Even Hauswirth dropped some coin there.
Little penny swats.
Of course.
Yeah.
By the time you guys were texting me saying that, you were winning money, I was already in bed.
No kidding.
No kidding.
I got to tell you, do I have time to sidetrack for a quick story in penny slots? All right, just remind me where I was.
You were saying that Stephanie's husband is good looking.
Habit on the show yesterday. Saying that's why you don't want to miss.
Chris will appreciate that.
Your husband, I hope, digs that. That's why you don't want to miss Wake Up Columbia. Tomorrow, 686p, 1 for 1. Holiday food drive with Commerce Bank. We're just helping folks all across mid-Missouri, and we want to give you the opportunity to help us, help people, non-perishable food items, and really anymore, it's cash, and I get it, man. Over the years, it's always been cool to see the truck loaded up and all those big, giant boxes of food and the forklift that have to lift that giant box of food into the semi. Always made for great visuals. We've evolved over the years. What we've learned is really it's the money because Food Bank Central Missouri, they can take that money and then just buy ridiculous amounts of food. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia. There's Stephanie Powell.
Good morning.
That's Hannah. My name is Branden Rathert. Something we can do for you, 874-9390.
Here's a big old serving of leftovers on 93.9 The Eagle. Enjoy.
So we've been talking a lot about Judge Green's ruling, and right when it came out, the question was, is the Attorney General going to appeal? The Attorney General has stated publicly he's not going to appeal. Of course, he is charged with defending, the laws and state actions, but he's saying he's not going to. But as of yesterday, Missouri's largest counties, that being St. Louis County and Jackson County, have said they're going to try to intervene and appeal that ruling and protect their rights. And so the question, I have not seen the filing. I don't think it's come through on CaseNet yet. But the question will be are they allowed to intervene? And there's a lot of factors in that decision. Usually you're not allowed to intervene this late. It's a higher bar than if you try to get in a case early. So it'll depend on, what they've argued. And then also, how that's going to proceed. So then if they are allowed in, then that case could go up on appeal.
And the other thing I think that's been interesting as you look nationwide, there have been some court rulings dealing with some of these and they're not consistent either. And it's not always the same. It's not just about the mandate. Sometimes it's the mechanics of how it got there. But we saw like New York Supreme Court just said, no, we're not even going to hear a case. And then in Pennsylvania, it ruled in the favor of people who don't want to be forced to get a vaccine. So even the rulings aren't consistent.
Yeah, and people, they like to read the headlines. And yeah, the standards are different, right? And so yesterday the Supreme Court was actually asked to step in and halt a law, which is a much higher bar than just a ruling on the merits, right? And so they're saying, we want you to stop, immediately stop this law. And that's what they refused to halt the law requiring healthcare workers to offer an exemption. And that's the same decision that they made in the Maine case. But of course, 3 people dissented, Clarence Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito, as they did in the Maine case, saying, hey, you got to have a religious exemption for these things. Now, the Supreme Court didn't rule on the merits. They just said, we're not going to halt the law. So.
Have you heard about this? A woman fell off a ship, some passengers on the ship. It was a ship based out of Southern California. It was somewhere off the coast of Mexico. So U.S. Coast Guard, after a few hours, they suspended the search for her. And last I heard, it was a woman. She's described in her 20s and vanished about 3:30 in the morning. Some folks on the ship are saying, yeah, this was foul play. Other folks, she just fell over. I'm wondering, if you're still on that cruise and you know that, hey, somebody's probably dead, fell overboard 3:30 in the morning, do you still have a good time on the cruise? What do you go, oh my, somebody died here and we need to not have fun? Or you just go whoop it up and holler? I think that would just be a weird position to be in.
I think about that on airplanes. Like when people have an emergency or a health issue on an airplane, you can't just land the plane, right? And so, yeah, what's the mood when something like that goes wrong and you're kind of stuck?
You get frustrated. Come on, dude. Why you got to have a heart attack, man? I'm trying to get to Idaho to see the Grand.
Or someone has their baby on the airplane.
Oh, God. That would be tough. Oh, and this also in leftovers, I was glad to see this. This is according to the Columbia Daily Tribune. There's a Sonic Drive-In in Nifong, and it's right there, I think, by the Starbucks. I don't know why people, and I get it, because Sonic, you don't really get out of your car. But with the drive-thru at Starbucks and that Sonic right there, that area and the Pizza Hut across the little street, that is a disaster. That's almost as bad as the Columbia Public School District and the Joe Biden administration. So they're going to move the Sonic driving across the street where the KFC used to be. So those are your leftovers. Coming up, Randy Tobler in for Gary Nolan today here on the Gary Nolan Show by, I don't know, like 10-ish. We'll have today's podcast posted. It's Wake Up Columbia on demand anytime, all the time. You can also go back and watch the show. See some of what happened behind the scenes this morning. See ya.
Bye.